Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like Castors, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
I poured it in my mouth and it just wasn't going down.
My first beer was an IPA, the best IPA I've ever drank, mostly because I brewed it.
If you have a scale that is good for measuring cocaine, you're probably good for measuring hops on Quebec.
You're scaring me.
I think the information is awesome and the audio sucks.
Make some sugary water, throw some yeast in there.
And you're going to drink good beer.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's fine.
God damn it, man. Oh, my God. Oh, uh-oh.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's The Session. And I tell you what, we have a banger of a show for you tonight. Not only do we have an awesome brewery up in Quebec called Le Castor. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. But they make some kick-ass farmhouse beers, man. And
the Beaver. That's what that says.
What?
In English, it's the Beaver. Let's call it the Beaver Brewery.
Oh, all right. Not only did they send a bunch of beer, but they sent a bunch of merch, and
nice.
It broke. Like the shipment broke, so we lost 3 bottles of beer, and it got all over the merch. Like all the hats smell like fucking beer, but really good beer, so it was kind of okay. But I washed all the shirts, so they have now cat hair everywhere. If we don't give them away tonight, we'll have them for like Twitter games and stuff, because I haven't written a Twitter game since I've been hosting, so that's just kind of how that goes. But we have a beer from Deschutes, a new pale ale, experimental pale ale. It's called Armory, and we're going to be tasting that as well, too, and talking about that a little bit. Right. Apparently it's with some crazy experimental hop that only has a number. It's like 5-digit number.
5. Yeah, I've seen they're getting bigger than numbers. I know what that's.
Well, I think it's from their own personal hop field.
I think there's some meaning to some of the numbers for those.
Yeah. So I think it's from their own thing, and they're having actually a contest for this beer release. So if you want to, you can win a trip to the hop field and kind of do whatever they do up there. It's pretty cool, actually. Nice. So we'll get into all that in just a little bit, but.
Beer, good.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and if you guys want to support great radio like this, support all of our sponsors. That's really all you got to do, man. Listen up over the next couple hours, and pick out a couple sponsors and go shopping, man. Come on, who doesn't want to go shopping, right? Specifically, like at places like More Beer, who bring you this show. They're the title sponsor of The Session. They've been here since before we even had, a show called The Session. They're here for great radio. They're here for great beer, and they're good folks.
Send them for their email, and then they'll push their specials to you. And I just buy a lot of things from them because they go on special. Go like, oh yeah, I use that. I need more of that, or I've always wanted one of those. So, yeah.
Oh, like the deal of the day kind of deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I finally got a chance to get out to their new production facility or their new warehouse. I'll tell you what. First of all, you feel like you're in one of those horror movies where you're driving along a country road and anything can happen. Like one of the crazy inbreds will shoot out your tire so they can kill you. That's the progression of the movie because it's out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Yeah. Like you have to kind of drive through this residential area, then make the U-turn under a bridge, under an overpass, and then continue down. And there's fields everywhere, but it's in this, ginormous complex. It's so impossible to even explain, but. Chris Graham was out. I'm just brewing, so come on by. And he has a brew room, and he's doing his whole thing. And it's cool to see him be able to get back to what he likes to do, which is just brew and dick around and try new stuff out. I mean, I guess we all like to do that, but
that's great.
I mean, it's massive. Darren has a golf cart.
No, it's acres under roof. Yeah,
that's how big it is.
I've
done golf carts.
In my computer career, I did a lot of work in warehouses like that. And always required to have a means of transportation because, whether you're doing your work is one end of the place and where you got to go back and do something, you need transportation because they're so big. It takes forever. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. It's so crazy. It's I don't know, but God bless them, man. More Beer, they're kicking ass, and they're sponsoring. That's what they do. They do two things: they kick ass and they sponsor the Brewing Network.
Yeah.
And we love them. We love them dearly for that. Speaking of asses, there's a big-assed beer fest in Norway called the What's Brewing Fest. It's the third annual. It's from October 20th to the 23rd, and Justin and Tasty will both be there. And there's a fat brewery list, so check it out. I believe it's whatbrewing.no. I think is the email. You get your. Did you get a hold of those dudes, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
All set.
All right. All set.
Oh,
everything's squared away.
It's all squared away.
Okay. Good.
It'll be a great trip. Can't wait to see everybody there.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. That's I think you're gonna have a good time.
Why not?
Bring back
beer and brewers. What the
take
hell?
A bunch of photos.
Photos. Oh yeah.
Photos, man. We want to see what's going on, what's doing up there.
I was thinking about maybe doing an interview or something, an audio interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give that a try.
Okay. What would you? Do you have questions ready?
Mostly about dick sizes. I mean, no, I'd talk about their beer and their brewery and stuff like that.
Well, no, dick sizes. I just assumed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just when guys start out. And, just find out what they're up to, how they got where they are, and, maybe talk about one of the beers that I'm having of theirs or something like that.
Okay. That's cool. Like on video or just audio?
Well, I was thinking about, maybe doing video. I'd have to get my assistant to, I'm sure I could find somebody to do that for me.
You just get a tripod, man. Tripod and a thing. There you go.
Oh,
I mean,
do that, yeah.
Static shot.
With those tabletop tripods and then just...
Yeah. You don't need to do much. So, do you want to practice on me? Because I like this version of you. No. I like this content.
I'm going to wing it.
The content creator is emerging from deep within your THC crusted soul. And,
well, when I go and as a BN person, I want to maybe generate something other people can at least see what I saw or something like that.
Yeah. Get your take on it. Tasty's take.
Yeah.
There it is. Tasty's take.
And what's the Tasty? I kind of need a theme song. Whatever. I can see this happening.
What will be your theme
Tasty's
song?
Take of the week.
Like it has to have banjo in it or ukulele.
It could just be a little, personal experience I had for the week. But it could also be an interview. Or, it could be me. So I went to, say, Drake's anniversary party or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I, talk about what I did there and who I talked to. And little facts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that would be so. It's like a blog without the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, which I like.
Without having to write.
Which I like.
Yeah, there's no blank page. Just dead air.
Yeah, there's no... And you know what? Honestly, I'm fine with a little dead air. It's a little cushion.
No.
That's fine. I'm all right with it.
I'm more comfortable just talking like I'm in a room with a bunch of people talking over beer.
Yeah.
Rather than on a microphone.
When in actuality, it's literally just you and me.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Speaking of which... I don't hear Doc or anybody chiming in here.
Well, so Warren...
Where are those guys?
Warren texted me, said there's 2 accidents. So right now, he's coming from Los Gatos, man. And like the worst... It's one of the worst commutes in the Bay Area, 680 North at that commute time. And so I give him a little slack because he can't predict that. And then Doc just texted me. Accidents you don't know, right? But Warren texted me at a reasonable time, like 5 o'clock.
Doc was day drinking today. He probably didn't know. He thought he could do it, probably.
And it's also raining. It's like the first rain. So
Right.
people are extra
Panicked.
stupid.
Right.
Yeah, traffic will be a mess.
But this is what Doc texted me, and I hope he's listening because sometimes Doc fucking pisses me off, and he knows it. Gonna be a bit late tonight. I'm a full-time dad for a while. That was 4 minutes ago. So you don't know that you're going to be a full-time dad for a while? 4 minutes? Or what? Would that be 6 minutes after the show starts that you're supposed to be on, that you know that nobody's going to be at?
No, if you've got kids, they're pretty much like you could
Please.
call from dispatch.
They're fucking...
Like, hey, I need to be picked up. Or I need to be taken there.
They both drive.
No, well, he sounds like he oh, that's right, they do.
They're teenagers.
One of them isn't even at home anymore, is he?
No,
He's away at college.
he's at college. I'm
only
a
got one.
full-time dad with a parent of a child over 16 that has a car.
Maybe he's talking about what the age range he's dating is.
I was just going to say maybe he's talking about his girlfriend.
I'm a full-time dad. She needs to be taken to the mall to hang out with
Maybe
her
it's
friends.
Rosanna.
Rosanna. Oh, my God. Do you want to fuck with Doc?
What?
All right. I don't care. The show's going to come to a screeching halt, and I don't give a fuck. Let's call Doc, and we're just going to do nothing but play Rosanna.
Yeah. Let's first ask what bar he's in.
Right. Well, and you know that's what he's doing. Like, I'm not stupid.
I saw him post today. He was at a bar.
Yeah, he was drinking at with Kate.
Yeah.
So I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean?
No, we know. We do the same shit. But yeah, we know how it rolls. We know how it happens.
Okay, so let's call Doc now.
All right.
Phone.
Get him on the phone.
And he's going to fucking hate it, and I'm going to love it because he's going to hate it so much.
We should. We're calling him just to check on him, or get a real ETA because we're going to schedule the show around it.
No, I'm not going to say shit. We're just going to play Rosanna.
Oh, I see. Got it ready to rock. Just bring it in.
Hello. That's very funny.
I hung up on him.
That just made my whole night.
So we're going to do that throughout the night.
Yeah.
And I think he was like letting other people hear it.
Yeah, he was laughing.
Because everybody knows his fucking disdain for Toto. Which I don't get. I mean, I guess I get, but the worst song in the world has to be Africa. I've heard that song so many times. It's terrible.
Well, I don't know.
What do you
Most
know?
of the music I listen to is in my car.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, I don't listen to it. Like if I'm at a concert in a bar or a bar, I don't have any control over that.
Right.
Yeah. When I do have control. I just,
You
I don't
you
go to
assert
that many
control.
concerts, and in a bar you can't hear any music anyway.
That's true. I think sometimes I think the music in bars is just for the bartenders.
I think it's to make sure everybody's yelling loud enough to get thirsty.
I read an article that music actually skews how beer tastes to you.
Ooh.
Like they're getting this weird, they're finding like a parallel between the two things.
I mean, your brain's a pretty complicated device, but I mean, you start having a lot of stimulation.
Yeah, I mean, it's
it
not
could
an
detract
iPhone.
about your
not...
focus on the other sensors.
Yeah. Speaking of focus, have you guys heard about the free Brew Guru app from the American Homebrewer Association?
Yeah, I have.
It's built for homebrewers and beer lovers. The Brew Guru delivers sage brewing knowledge and money-saving details at breweries, beer bars, and homebrew supply shops. The American Homebrewers Association designed this powerful mobile app to help homebrewers and craft beer lovers explore the wide world of beer we all share. With Brew Guru, you can effortlessly find deals, and save money on beer, food, and brewing supplies. Level up your brew IQ with hand-picked articles, proven recipes, and trusted resources from the American Homebrewers Association and Zymergy Magazine. And use the powerful brewery locator to find nearby breweries, taprooms, beer bars, homebrew supply shops, and brew pubs wherever you are. Brew Guru will lead you to good beer. You can get the app today. It is free for the iPhone, iPad, Android, all that kind of stuff. You can learn more at homebrewersassociation.org. I did it.
Great device.
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty good.
I was at Russian River yesterday, and it reminded me that they have happy hour pricing.
Oh,
all the
really?
time for home brewers.
And did you forgot that, and you're like, well, shit.
Well, it didn't matter for two reasons.
Okay.
One's the obvious. The other is that Sunday is all day happy hour anyway. At the
okay.
So.
But it's still a good point. Like,
no, if I was there on a Tuesday, and I had some friends that were there, and they didn't have the app, but they were thrilled that they had the HA card.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and they got it's like $3.25 a pint or something.
Dude, we get so many people. You're going, we're coming into town. Of course, we're going to Russian River. Yeah. But now it reminds you, hey, by the way, if you bring your fucking card.
Get your card for that. Now, with this app, you don't need to.
You don't need to.
If you're a registered member, it brings up your card on the screen right next to the offer.
That's right.
And if the server doesn't know what you're up to, you just show them the phone. You go, here's my card. Here's the offer. Yeah, it's real legit. It's on the internet. Right. Look at it. See, it's real.
Too legit to quit. That's what I've always said. Yeah. All right, let's do some feedback. Excuse me, I'm burping, man. This is from Clint. If you remember, Clint lit into Beardy last week for not knowing his kombucha history or whatever it was. He says, "Yeah." He says, "Thanks for reading my feedback. I actually didn't know about the Lindsay Lohan kombucha controversy or controversy, if you're in England. What can I say? When I see her name in the news, I instantly mentally block it. Ha ha." I don't know why. Lindsay Lohan's amazing. Thanks for setting me straight on the 2 to 3 ABV kombucha. It sounds like a lot of discrepancy arose from non-cold storage of the final bottled product. And since there's a live culture in the bottle, it would end up fermenting more and creating more alcohol than the brewer intended. No, man, you don't understand. It was on the fucking label like that. But whatever.
It only creates alcohol if something there for it to eat.
Right? Anyhow, Beardy still sucks and talks out of his ass most of the time. Winky smiley face.
Not a Beardy fan.
Beardy's here. Beardy, perfect timing, bro. Perfect timing, my friend.
Of course it is.
Your friend, your buddy Clint, your best buddy Clint just wrote in for feedback.
Oh, yeah, Clayton?
He's sending more insults.
Yeah, Clayton, that's right, yeah. And he basically skirted the issue, but then says, anyhow, Beardy still sucks and talks out of his ass most of the time. Winky smiley face.
Winky?
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind sitting on your ass and speaking out of your mouth from now on, that would be great.
Well, I mean, that point I don't necessarily disagree with. All the points he made last week, I do.
Right, because I have facts.
Right.
This is from William. He says, greetings, brewcasters and Bevo. As a longtime listener, whenever supplies and new equipment is needed for our home brewery, we seek out sponsors of the BN to do business with.
Oh,
William, I appreciate that, dude. It goes a long way. In the past, I've gotten items from More Beer and have been return customers because of price and speed of shipping. Now I can add excellent customer service to the list of positive reasons to deal with them. Had an issue with an item resulting in loss of a brew day. Emailed them about it, and the next day I received a call from Dave in sales. I'm assuming David Wonder. But, I don't know. After apologizing for the issue, he explained that the situation was being reviewed by a quality assurance team. They have a quality assurance team.
Wow.
Capital Q, capital A.
Not just one person.
No, a team.
A whole team of people.
A team of people. If you're one person, are you a team?
No, because they even have bowling teams. And that's an individual sport, right? No, I guess it's not.
I don't know. Reviewed by a QA team to stop it from happening again, but I was distressed that I lost a brew day because of it. Brewing being a hobby, losing a day wasn't earth-shattering, but he insisted on offering a discount on my next purchase, which I accepted. Since he's on the phone and you guys are constantly asking listeners to let show sponsors know you heard about them on the BN, I did. He said that he knew Justin and JP personally, and if I sent in feedback to tell you, he said hi. I want all your listeners to know that More Beer really stands up for the customer and went beyond what I expected them to do. So the next time you have a choice of where to spend your money, use More Beer. You won't be disappointed. From William Mundy. I really like those kind of stories. But I can assure you that everybody who advertises on the Brewing Network is equally great. And, we have other fine homebrew sponsors as well, but this is a great example of why More Beer is where they are today, man. Customer service. I remember way back when, that was the focus over anything. Customer service. Next one is from someone called Guard. And it's a Norwegian kind of thing, so I'm going to butcher the shit out of this email. Hi, first of all, I would like to thank you for both information and entertainment in your various podcasts, which I usually listen to while brewing and cleaning. I'm writing to you in the capacity of being the brewmaster at Bryggerhuset, Bryggerhuset, Bryggerhuset. Right?
Close enough.
Saddam Hussein Pilot Brewery, which is the experimental part of Aspergeri. AASS. They're super, like an old, you know the name, you've seen them. Norway's oldest brewery. Probably Aus. Yeah, I don't want to say ass.
I believe it's Aus.
I think it's Aus or something like that, right? I'm so stupid. Since August last year, we've produced more than 60 batches in the pilot brewery, as well as 4 scaled-up beers that are either released or will be released shortly in both bottle and cans. And he goes on to describe some of those. Before I got this job, which is obviously my dream job, I was a teacher in middle school and an avid home brewer with good results in national homebrew competitions, 1 gold and 2 bronze in 2014. Yeah, that's pretty good, dude.
Yeah. Nice.
The main reason for writing you now is to announce that we have started a barrel aging program in cooperation with the cognac house, Bach Gabrielsen. As I understood from the podcast, some of you will be in Norway for what's brewing in October. We're not attending this year, but I would hereby, this is a declaration, an official Norwegian declaration, Tasty, but I would hereby invite you to Drammen, which is where they are, to give you a tour of the brewery and an opportunity to sample some of our beers, both from the pilot brewery and the regular lineup. For instance, Ausbach. If you're able to fit this in your schedule, Drammen is about 30 minutes outside of Oslo. I look forward to hearing from you and hope you are welcome.
Yeah,
I hope to be able to welcome you in person. Sincerely yours. Yeah. I can't pronounce a single word after sincerely yours, but I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. So I sent it to you and I sent it to Jay, and if you guys want to reach out to this guy, go for it.
I'll look up where it's at and see what transportation is like.
Probably cold.
I assume it'd be on wheels.
By mountain goat?
Maybe sleds.
Who knows?
Maybe 4 legs.
Norway.
Who knows?
It could be by boat.
We're going to find out.
A lot of water there.
The chat room suggested you read that email in Chechnyan, and it would have made more sense.
It probably would have.
Norwegian in Chechnyan? It could be.
The main reason for writing you now was to announce that we have started a barrel aging program in Chechnya in cooperation. I can't do it.
It does sound more.
It sounds more authentic.
More legible. Understandable.
Heartfelt,
right. Yeah. Okay, and then finally, spam of the week. Hello. How are you doing today, and how was your night? I hope you had a good one. Don't wake up with the regret of what you couldn't accomplish yesterday. Wake up thinking about what you will be able to achieve today. Oh. My name is Jamie Smith, and I came across your email while searching for an old friend of mine, and I would love the opportunity to get to know you only if you feel comfortable. If you're not comfortable, then please ignore my message. Have a great day. I mean, now, what a wonderful way to open up spam.
Yeah.
It's a very positive message. It's very inviting, very disarming. Yeah. And then, he wants to get to know you.
If you feel comfortable with it.
But only if you feel comfortable.
Right.
Right? I think maybe, Weirdy, we're seeing the halcyon days of spam, right? Where gone are the super, fishy emails, or like they try to fool you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this guy's just laying it out there, dude.
And who doesn't need a friend?
Maybe Tasty probably doesn't, but I think, Tasty, if I could suggest, Jamie sounds like a cool dude.
He does. Yeah. Sounds like a Trump supporter.
The Golden Girls theme song playing in the background as you read that would have been
literally,
perfect.
but not smart.
Thank you for being a friend. Speaking of theme songs.
Do you have the banjo music?
No, I don't have the banjo music, but...
Oh, we're doing this new fun thing.
Yeah, we're doing this new...
Oh, it sounds fun.
It's the new hotness.
It's the new hotness, dude.
You're calling in somewhere?
Not just somewhere.
Police dispatch.
Not just somewhere, Warren.
Hello.
that.
That's what Doc hears.
Just giggling. It's so great.
Hang up on him.
So Doc's not going to make it in because he wrote like 6 minutes after the show started. I'm a full-time dad now. I might not make it in. Which we all took that to mean I'm super drunk and I'm not going to make it.
Day off.
I'm doing other shit.
Bryson is with him.
Okay.
So, great. Yeah.
Great.
He is dadding right now.
Designated
I'm
driver.
sure he is. But so now we're calling and just playing Toto.
How many times have you done that today?
That's the second.
Nice.
I mean, I don't want to wear it out.
No.
Right.
I mean, he probably listened to about a second of it.
No, he's on the whole fucking time laughing.
He's laughing. Hear him laughing.
So, that's how that goes. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break. And then we're going to be back on with Daniel from Lake Castor. I'm really excited about this brewery, dude. Well, I'll tell you about how I heard about him after the break. Anyway, it's a session, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. I promise.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
The Vault, created by White Labs. The Vault is a collection of new, creative, and unique yeast strains from around the world. These strains have never been available to homebrewers. Most have not even been available to professionals. You have the power to release the yeast. Through The Vault, White Labs is giving you the power to decide which strains are put into production and giving you the opportunity to brew with these strains. Visit whitelabs.com/The Vault and pre-order the yeast strain of your choice and encourage your friends to do the same. Once 250 pre-orders have been achieved, White Labs will put that strain into production. The strain will be mailed directly to your doorstep, ready to make the beer you've always wanted to brew. This program was created with the homebrewer in mind. White Labs is relying on you to help release these strains, which may blaze the way for future new and unique beers. Help release the yeast. Visit whitelabs.com/The Vault.
Brewing great beer is a process of continuous learning, and the best books on every aspect of brewing can be found at Brewers Publications, with more than 50 awesome titles like Modern Homebrew Recipes by Gordon Strong, Designing Great Beers, the Ultimate Guide to Brewing Classic Beer Styles by Ray Daniels, American Sour Beers, Innovative Techniques for Mixed Fermentations by Michael Tonsmeyer, For the Love of Hops, The Practical Guide to Aroma, Bitterness, and the Culture of Hops by Stan Hieronymus, and Radical Brewing, Recipes, Tales, and World-Altering Meditations in a Glass by Randy Mosher, plus many, many more. These are the books and the authors with the knowledge to push your brewing farther than you thought possible. And you'll find them all at fine homebrew and book retailers everywhere. And visit the website at brewerspublications.com. Brewers Publications, all the best on beer and brewing.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Marin Brewing Company in Northern California has been making award-winning beers for more than 25 freaking years. Today, I want to tell you about their new 12-ounce cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale. The good stuff, Mount Tam is bright gold, 5.5% ABV to keep you feeling good, and has been winning awards since 1989. If you're visiting the Bay Area, get your butt out to Marin Brewing Company. They pour tasty beers and serve great food every day until midnight. Come in for a tour, stay for the food, and pick up a 6-pack of cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale to enjoy at home, camping, biking, or whatever the hell you do. Owner Brendan Moylan has this to say about Marin Brewing beers.
It's freaking awesome.
Marin Brewing has won more than 100 gold medals in international competitions. Check out marinbrewing.com for all their award-winning beers, food, and merch. Marin Brewing Company in Larkspur, California. Award-winning taste, refreshing finish. It's freaking awesome.
Brewcasters are back.
888-401-BEER.
Whatever.
All right, thanks everybody for sticking with us. Before we get to our guest, I want to tell you guys about Great Fermentations, the fine folks over there. They have the largest catalog of Blickman products on the web, and their staff is some of the best trained in the business in using Blickman products. They offer top-notch customer service, same-day shipping on many items. Check them out at greatfermentations.com, and be sure to like them on Facebook at GR8 Fermentation, and find them on Instagram and Twitter as GR8 Fermentation. Greatfermentations.com. We like those people, too. We like everybody today. It's one of those shows, man.
It's just a great day to be alive.
Yeah. It's one of those shows where we like everybody, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Roseanne.
Oh, shit. I should.
No.
I thought about having Q, but I think it's too soon also. I think it's too soon. But
I want him so he expects it. That's like torture. Random.
Well, and for him, it is.
Well, and he might start to recognize the number.
Yeah, I think you might give him too much credit.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, on the phone right now, we have our friend Dan. Dan, are you with us, my friend?
I am. I'm right here.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. I know. So you're in Quebec, right? Or near Quebec, or somewhere? You're somewhere. You're on Earth, right?
Oh man, I'm skyrocketing though. I just had a coffee because I was falling asleep. It's late out here, right?
Yeah, you're like 3 hours away, right, or something like that. Yeah.
Totally. I just put the kids to bed. It's a good thing I didn't fall asleep with them. So I made it out of the room alive. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing, man. You got to make it out. You got to make it out alive, man. If not for their sake, for yours, you know.
That's the best you can hope for, is just to get out of the room.
I think that's I think that's parenting just in general. Yeah. Overall, you just want to make it out of parenting alive.
At the end, if you're alive, you did it. You did it right.
You kind of want both parties to make it out alive.
The kids, too, I guess.
Yeah,
parents?
Sure, but the kids, too.
Wait, there's a party? No one told me there was a party for parenting, man.
When they move out.
All right, so Dan, you are the brewer at Le Castor, or is it Microbrasserie Le Castor? What's the full...
pretty good. Okay. Le Castor, singular. Le Castor would be plural, but I mean that's good too because there's more than one person.
Wait, hold on a second. Explain that difference again to me because I'm very slow.
You want to learn French?
So le is plural, right? Like many, and then le is the singular masculine.
Okay,
and then la is the singular feminine. So
la.
You were close. You were very close.
So not la.
Yeah, Le Castor.
Le Castor.
How is lait spelt then?
LES.
Oh,
French is so dumb. Silent S.
Oh, dude.
Like we don't have those in
silent letters. Oh God, silent T's, silent D's, silent S's. They're all silent half the time, and then it takes you a lifetime to figure out when they're silent.
It's very situational, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, and it's like, why is a table a girl?
Why is it very feminine?
Why is a stick a boy?
legs.
Well, that actually makes sense.
Right. Who knows? Language is weird, man. Language is very weird, and how it kind of evolves and whatever. And the silent letters mess with me, dude. As you heard just right now.
But you guys are close to Mexico down there. You must know some Spanish.
Yeah, a little bit of Spanish, but mainly how to pronounce San Jose, and that's about it.
Americanized version.
Well done.
I don't think Spanish has any silent letters either.
I don't know.
They sound different, but I think
the J is pretty much not. You don't ever say the J, do you?
It's a ha.
No,
it's like an H sound.
Softer, yeah.
Habanero.
Thanks for the proof, Warren.
Slam dunk.
I appreciate the example that you just gave for everybody to. All right.
Google pronounce.
Yeah.
Jalapeno.
Whatever. Anyway, sorry about this, Daniel. We're already off the rails, man.
Is it over?
It's over. You did great. I think all your beers were fantastic. No, I'm kidding. So explain to me a little bit about your role at Le Castor, please.
Well, I'm co-owner and brewer. I'm responsible for production, brewing. I'm not doing a lot of wort production right now, but for the first year I was the brewer. And then we slowly added, good brewers to the team. So, day to day, it's basically managing the production process from A to Z and trying to, plan where we're going, basically.
Okay.
Recipe development, trying to work on the next beers coming down the line, that kind of stuff.
Okay. And where are you exactly?
Well, we're just outside Montreal, so that's a good landmark. We're about 40 minutes west, so between Montreal and Ottawa.
Okay.
So we're in a good scene. I mean, the Quebec beer scene is pretty good. I don't know. I'm curious to know what your guys' perception or impression would be of the Quebec beer scene, but it's very vibrant. We're pretty developed for a small population. We've got about 150 breweries and brew pubs in Quebec, which is, you have our entire population of our country in California. So that's, in Quebec, I don't even know what the numbers are, but maybe we're 6 million or something, 6 to 8 million in Quebec.
Wow.
So, and we've got the same proliferation of breweries going on that I imagine you guys still do down in California. Like there's just dozens and dozens of new ones coming online every year.
Yeah, I don't think the rate of new breweries is related to California or anything. It's just worldwide, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And in Canada, there's places like where, like the beer scene in Canada, I think is known to be, there's Quebec is an epicenter for sure in Canada, and then BC. But it's where a lot of the opportunities and where we're going to see a lot of growth, I think, coming up is the places that we don't hear about a lot, like the prairies, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, out east, little tiny provinces like PEI and smaller provinces like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. So,
ooh, I know PEI, Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, you got it.
God, I'm so smart.
Well, you don't really need like a huge population to support a brewery. I mean, you were in a town or a county or an area that had like 50,000 people, you could probably run in like a 10 hectoliter brew house.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a post like that just the other day online, and it was a guy who put up the towns left in Quebec and the highest population towns that didn't yet have a brew pub in them.
Yeah.
Wow. And some of them are 100,000 people, 80,000 people, 60,000 people. It was kind of an interesting list because it's like, every one of those places could happily support one, if not two, brew pubs.
Did that person happen to sell stainless steel equipment? Because that's how you get easy customers.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, a large number of the home brewers I know are starting breweries. Is home brewing So say, for instance, one of these underserved 200,000 people resident kind of places. The reason they don't have a brewery is there's no home brewer there with a dream to open a brewery.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, we came from that background too. I have a business partner, and he and I came to brewing kind of a funny direction. We originally had a business together doing traditional timber frame carpentry. You guys probably know what that is. Sure. Traditional squared timber, and it's all pegged together with mortise and tenons.
No screws allowed.
Yeah, exactly. It's really artisanal. It's really traditional. And he and I went to Europe. We did our apprenticeships there. We learned the old school methods.
Wow.
And it was actually in Scotland where we lived, learning this, that we got into whiskey, which is not surprising.
There's alcohol. People are going
to in spades, and also real ale. So this is like back in 1999, sort of 2000.
So what were you drinking before you found this real ale? That
was the beginning of like the whole craft beer journey for my partner and I.
Well, a lot of people
from Canada.
Moosehead, right? Molson's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like Sleeman's was pretty exotic because it came in a clear bottle. We were. It was bad in the mid 90s up here. It was there wasn't a lot. There were some really good pioneering breweries. Like McCausland and other places like Judiciel's brew pub was coming online in the mid 90s, I think. But, I was out of it. I was oblivious to that. So it was really moving away and going to a place like England and Scotland.
And they didn't have these kind of beers there. So
and getting into the real ale scene and like, what is this semi-flat, semi-warm weird thing in my hand, and just being blown away by it.
Yeah.
So we got into, doing the whiskey distillery tours as we were doing our apprenticeships over there on weekends. Nice. We'd do the tours. We'd visited a couple breweries, and we're, like everyone else, I think the first time you go into a distillery or brewery, you're kind of smacked in the face with the smell of the mash and everything, and you're kind of blown away with all the steel, and you're just, it makes an impression on you. So we were kind of like, oh, wouldn't that be wicked to make whiskey or something like that someday? Mm-hmm. And then we just shelved that idea for years because we moved back, started our timber frame construction business, and we did that for, a good 7-8 years.
God.
And it was only because we fell onto some tricky times. The recession, remember, that hit in 2008?
Yeah.
That kind of really rattled our cage as a construction business. We lost some contracts, and then all of a sudden we had nothing to do. And we had this big workshop we were hanging out in, waiting for the phone to ring, literally. And we're like, well, we have time to brew. We always wanted to do that. And that's where it started, was like back in 2009. So we're relatively new to brewing.
Yeah, and even homebrewing. Yeah, wow.
So it was basically that free time, that unwanted free time we had from construction. we were like Googling and listening to the Brewing Network and all this stuff, and trying to figure out how to make a 5-gallon system, and that's where it started. And literally with batch number 1, we tried to recreate it like an ESB, a British, nice traditional British pint.
Yeah, man.
A beer you couldn't get, you wanted to make, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely could not get this beer, especially where we live out here, because we're not in Montreal. We're 40 minutes outside of it. There was nothing in the stores here, even 7 years ago. And the first batch was just dumb luck, I guess, but it came off. It was amazing. And I was just like, we got to start a brewery. We have to do this.
That was your epiphany right then? One batch?
For batch 1, dude. When we were mashing in, I was like, we're doing
this. Is it? You fell in love.
All right, we're can-do guys. I like
so
that.
You hadn't even tasted it, and you're like, this is our plan moving forward.
100%. But you say that, right? You brew your first batch. How many homebrewers say that?
Everybody, dude. Throw a rock in a homebrew club. Everyone's saying it, at least entertaining it. At least entertaining the idea.
Oh, for sure. And because it's the eureka moment. It's like when whether it's construction or music or in the kitchen or brewing beer, it's that creative moment when it comes together and you're like, I just made this, and it's intense. It's really satisfying.
And everybody wants to do the thing that they love to do, the thing that they're passionate about. To a certain extent, that's great, but at some point, it becomes the work side rears its ugly head, and then people kind of fall out of love with it to a certain extent. But that's that search, right? That passion is kind of what drives us all to be in this industry and do this thing. is like find out what we want to do. Find out what motivates us, what makes us happy. And
that's exactly it.
You stumbled upon it.
We've been so lucky to, with the construction, the traditional framing, and then the beer, we're so lucky to do what we're passionate about for a living because it's just so fun to go into work every day. But, there's a lot of steps between, home brewing and running a successful brewery in between that will pound the enthusiasm out of you.
The wood timber thing was so lucrative.
You guys didn't even know what a screw gun was.
You guys
for
knew
8
how to
years.
get by.
Come on.
Well, when we started the brewery, you mean?
Well, I'm just saying, you guys came from like a low revenue sort of. Like, I assume your business wasn't that good, so it wasn't like you had a large, You're willing to put the work in to do it, to get it done. I'm saying.
Yeah, you weren't a stranger to labor.
Yeah.
No, that was the one thing. Like we brought from that industry just sounds cheesy, but this we can do this kind of attitude.
Can do or do it yourself.
It's like we built massive structures. We've done complex engineering. We think we can do this. We can build a brewery and we can do this. But I mean, the hurdles between, home brewing and going commercial are insane. They have to almost be lived to be believed.
Oh yeah, Dan. We hear that all the time with people we have on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. And so you've got to, some people, you're probably going to be a lot happier just home brewing and making wicked beer and sharing it with your friends, because so much of what you do when you're on a brewery, is not that creative, awesome, inspiring feeling you get when you're making good homebrew. It's
more work than fun. So yeah, it's not fun anymore. It's more
other, crap that you got to deal with, and but that was, to me, that was like the gut check every month. Like, we had problems launching our brewery. The town didn't, know what to make of it. We were blocked on several fronts. Like, every month there was a huge roadblock thrown in front of us and jeopardizing the project. And every morning, we just wake up and say, well, it's not going away. Like, the desire to start this brewery is not going away. We have to start this brewery. We have to start this brewery. So
that's great.
It was a good test. Like, by the time we even got to our permit, our officially we have a permit, we hadn't even released a beer yet. We felt like we'd been, through the trenches for several years. Like, holy cow, now we get to lose money for a year and a half.
Yeah, dude. Is that what you guys were projecting on your, did you have a business plan? Did you, how into it did you map this out?
Oh yeah, we had to, because we wanted to, we have, Quebec's pretty good that way. Like, we have these little government business development agencies, and they come and sit down with you and work with you, and they'll, they gave us a small loan in the beginning. They help us work with, the banks wouldn't touch us. That was pretty clear. Even though we had this other little business, basically our construction business was the engine. It was the thing that subsidized.
But you kept that going.
The operation of the brewery, because we had about a 6,000 square foot building for the construction. And we stole 2,000 square feet of it. We put a wall up, and then that was the brewery in that 2,000 feet. Nice. So the construction business really subsidized everything. But we had, little government agencies working with us. You had to have a full 3-year prospectus, a full business plan, like 50-page business plan. We were, drawing a lot of inspiration from the U.S., from the smaller breweries, because our original plan was to go nano. And so I was following guys like Hess Brewing online. I was following guys like Two Beers up in the Pacific Northwest. I was, getting inspired by guys like Lawson's, like really small brew houses. So that was the plan originally, was to start in 600 square feet as a nano. And then once we started crunching the numbers and realizing, well, if you do well, you're going to be swapping the nano out within 6 months so that you can hopefully, be profitable someday. So why don't we just try to start a little bit bigger than a nano, and that's what we ended up doing. We ended up getting a 10-barrel brew house, which is all we have today.
See, and that's great, because we do hear this from a lot of people, either in the chat or on the forums, like, hey, I really want to do this nano, but I don't know, but it's my dream. And we've had a few people come on and be like, why would you ever start that small? You know, I think it makes sense on paper and makes sense with your funds, but like you said, after 6 months, we're going to be flipping this over, and really the amount of work you're sinking into it to get it up and running and to get all the plumbing, you're going to have to redo all that too, probably, because it's a bigger footprint, I would imagine, and just it's a whole nother mess of work that nobody wants to do.
Yeah, there's two good reasons to do a nano. I mean, one is if you're selling it all on site, right, by the glass, brew pub model, or if you simply want to validate the brand and validate recipes and create a local following, like what I believe what like Hess Brewing did. I think they probably had day jobs, or it looked like they did, and then they did that for a couple of years on the nano system, had a nice loyal following, and then, you know, a few years in with that success, even though probably on paper from a financial standpoint, you know, wasn't, you know, doing much, they were able to I guess grow and invest in a bigger system. So, but yeah, we just thought, let's just go for the 10 barrel, but we were so diluted, man. We had no clue what volume we needed to sell to be profitable. We were just charging ahead with just that, you know, gleeful ignorance of what it was going to take. We launched a commercial packaging and distributing brewery with 2 12-hectoliter fermenters. That was our seller, and we're like standing there looking proudly at our 12 fermenters, you know. And it's like,
how many should you have had? Like, how short were you?
Another guy whose blog I was reading a lot at the time was Patrick Roux, because he has a lot of good information in that blog.
He laid it all out there.
From the brewery, He's been through it.
And I remember vividly reading his blog one day and like pounding my fist on the computer saying, "No, shut up. I don't believe this."
Why? Because his advice was contrary to what you were doing?
Yeah,
his advice was, "You're fucked."
His advice was flawless, but it was contrary to what I wanted to believe. And he was saying, you know, I think he said you got to start with 60 to 80 barrels of FVs. Otherwise, maybe you should think about some other type of profession like making mead. And I was just like, "Oh, you bastard! Like, how could you say that to me?"
He's so right, though.
He's not wrong.
He is 100% right, and I would actually say that he's spot on in terms of capacity. We didn't have a hope of being profitable until we had swapped out our little 12 hec ones and purchased massive 24 hectoliter, 20 barrel fermenters. And we had, let's say, 3 of them. So 60 to 80 barrels of fermentation was kind of the turning point for our brewery, and that took almost a year and a half.
To get the cellar to that big?
Pardon me?
To get the cellar to 80 to 90 barrels?
That's a good question. Well, oh man, if you could see the brewery where it started, it was in a garage. It was in the single bay garage, basically. So we literally didn't have space. We had 2 20s and 3 10s. So there you go. We had 70. Yeah. So we had 70 barrels of fermentation within about a year. And then it took a bit more time and money to create more space. We had to create more wet space in a building that wasn't designed to be a brewery. And then eventually we added some more 20s and 40s and stuff. Now I can't remember what we have now, but we're still quite small. We're about a 3,000 barrel a year brewery.
What's your distribution format? Is that all outside sales? Or you have your own tap room, or?
No, we don't do any on-site sales anymore. Like we used to be open, in the beginning we were open on Saturdays. So basically the on-site sales, you'd come in, we'd have free samples. You couldn't drink on premise, and bottles to go. And the production space became the retail space. So, Friday afternoon you're mopping, you're getting it all clean, turning it over into this retail space. And my partner were going in on Saturdays and doing our Saturday shift, and we'd alternate. And after a couple of years of that, about a year and a half, obviously, the first year and a half, couple of years, you're putting in a lot of hours. You're trying not to count them. And we just said, you know what, we're just getting burned out. Weekends are kind of for family. We both have young kids. Let's just draw a line, and let's just say, we do whatever it takes Monday to Friday. Let's try and keep this normal schedule, 8 to 5. And let's just cut the whole weekend thing.
All right.
So we kind of bailed out on that because it just didn't fit. We're putting so much effort into packaging and distributing and doing a pretty good job of it for a little tiny brewery. Like we just said we can't do it. We feel like a full-fledged tap room is a whole other business, and you have to treat it with that level of respect. Like, it has to have a dedicated space and dedicated staff who do nothing but that. Right. And we didn't have the space or even the desire to go in that direction. Not now, anyway.
Instead of a happy server, they'd had some grumpy brewer that's like worked way too many hours, and he's got a wife like beating his head like, why aren't you home?
Like, dude, I just hauled a bunch of sacks around. Like, I'm not trying to serve fucking half tasters to people.
I'm not familiar with how Canada does things. Can you distribute your own beer, and do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So that's one of the good things I feel about Quebec is you can self-distribute. Nice. So we literally were taking our construction truck in the beginning and grabbing a carpenter and saying, "Guess what, buddy? You're delivering beer today," and he'd drop his tool belt and get in the truck and go and deliver beer for the day. And we started out. We launched the brewery like with 12 hectoliters of oatmeal stout and four draft customers. That's all we had. And we had no bottles at that point. We didn't start bottling for another month.
Wow.
And just oblivious to what it would, we're just like, woo, we're selling beer. We have no idea what we're doing. And
you were just feeling it. You were, so you had no plan. You're just like, well, we have beer. We should probably sell it. And that's it. But there was no master plan to guide you along.
No, we were trying, man. Like we kind of thought of ourselves as being like our local county's brewery, because there isn't a brewery and there wasn't a brewery in the county. Okay. And we're going around to all the restaurants, all the bars, and we were thinking these people, of course, they're going to jump on board. We're also 100% certified organic, so like there's another little bonus potentially with certain customers might be interested in that. And the thing is, where we lived, I don't know how to say this, but the restaurants, like there's a lot of chain restaurants, and they tend to go for the more, industrial macro kind of beers.
They don't know about the drink local thing that's probably more popular now.
It's not, it still is not happening as much as it could be out here in the city in Montreal. Man, there's so many dedicated beer bars and restaurants that want nothing but craft, but out here we're a little bit behind in that way, and we were just getting a lot of no's, like no, not interested, or the whole you got to come in, set up all your taps, you got to invest in all this refrigeration equipment. It's like, dude, like we're like, really, like we're not Molson, and everyone was treating you, it's a real learning curve. A lot of misconceptions we had. We were wrong on a lot of fronts.
You're on the bleeding edge there marketing wise. That's a rough thing. Wow.
How do you handle that kind of rejection as you're just starting up and you have all this confidence and you're going ahead and you're just faced with a bunch of no's?
Well, the no's were happening mostly on the keg side. So, and I was reading in a lot of the blogs, try and get as much of your beer into kegs and bars, obviously, because, there's the packaging and is easier and it's just a more efficient format. We were getting a lot of rejection on the keg side. So we basically said, well, okay, we got to get into bottles as soon as possible. I think you have the IPA there, and you see that's in the bomber. So we use the American bomber, the 22 ounce, because it's a really efficient bottle to use when you're hand bottling. If you're using a manual four-head hand bottler, counter pressure. Okay. That's a really good bottle because it stays on the spout longer than a 12 ounce. So the longer it stays on the spout, the less you're moving your hands and flailing around like an octopus. So
that's smart. Was this the first beer that you? Sorry, go ahead.
And no one was really using that bottle in Quebec. So it gave us a real kind of American look to our beer when it first hit the shelves. And that's when the ball started to get rolling, was when we got it in bottles. And all of a sudden, we were getting beer stores calling us from Montreal, from the city, saying, "Get your stuff out here immediately." And the phone started to ring. And people were coming to us, and then people started to taste the beer, and the reviews were pretty good, and then the whole thing flipped on its head. And then with each new beer release, it kind of created this momentum and this wave, and then we were getting calls left, right, and center. But the first couple months were just banging our head on the wall. But I think that's almost it's a reflection also of how tough it is to get your beer in kegs into bars, because that whole scene is pretty aggressively locked out by a lot of the macros.
So what
you're really good. What you're saying is that the American way of life helped you in business. I just want to make sure. I want to make that clear.
Oh, God, yeah.
American bottles are better.
Yes. Thank you, Warren. Yes.
Yep. We all agree.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So this was the first beer that you put out in bottles?
What was the first beer we put out? The first beer we put out was an oatmeal stout. We wanted to play it, reasonably, because we thought we were going to serve just the local market. So we came out with an oatmeal stout and an American pale ale.
Wow.
So just nice, really accessible styles.
I love oatmeal stout, dude. I fucking love that beer. I wish more people would make one.
Yeah, that's it, eh? I just announced that our stout is back, actually, because we take a break in the summer. We have to due to IPA demand, and
we're wearing that here.
Yeah, we've heard of that phenomenon around here.
Yeah, exactly. Dark
People
beers,
like IPA?
no, we don't brew those in the summer.
No.
So same with the black IPA, and I just announced, hey, the oatmeal stout's back, and then you can just crickets, on
really?
Facebook. It's like, really, guys? Come on, this is a nice beer, okay? I know it's not a barrel-aged Brett beer, but, you could show a little...
That's disappointing. Well, right now, and so that was my fault for, I'm assuming that you knew what we were drinking. We did actually open up the Yakima IPA, and it is in the bomber format, so I just assumed...
right.
Yeah. What do you guys think of this beer, man?
It's really good. It's nice and dry.
Yeah.
I've obviously late hopped really well.
How does the American style IPA go over there on more towards the East Coast? I mean, do you guys get a lot of? This sounds super ignorant, right? Like I don't know where geographically anything is, but do you guys get a lot of West Coast style IPAs out there, or is it more the East Coast style? Tons of crystal malt kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting about the Quebec scene in the last 3-4 years. It's really changed in terms of hoppy beers because we wanted to release an IPA when we launched, but I kind of knew it was a big job. I wanted it to be a really good IPA, and at that point, this is like summer 2012 when we launched. And there was the whole West Coast versus East Coast thing and a lot of, banter about which is better and that. Quebec was firmly rooted in the East Coast malty IPA. Could have been the links to, Great Britain. No one was really producing except for some of the brew pubs. I believe like Benelux, people like that were doing West Coast IPAs. But on the market, readily available across the province, there was not a true West Coast IPA. So we started test batching our IPA, early in 2013, and the idea was to maybe do an East Coast version and then a West Coast version and kind of see what the public thought and kind of go with that. Mm-hmm. Just kind of make it a fun, trial it out on the market.
Yeah.
And then we try. I remember bringing home some Stone from the States because we have some family that lives down on the East Coast in Massachusetts, and cracked open a Stone IPA, and I was blown away personally because I had never seen an IPA that looked, smelled, and tasted like that because it just wasn't like anything on the market in Quebec. I was just blown away. It was like extremely pale. It was dry. And it was just super fruity, super balanced. It wasn't like crushingly bitter. We had, we have a lot of really overly bitter stuff on the market. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, this is what an IPA should be and can be. And that was it. Stone was the complete inspiration for the style that we wanted to pursue.
Which it wasn't available at all in that market. So
it was not available in any way, shape, or form. I don't know why. I don't know why other brewers weren't brewing them. Maybe they felt that Quebec was just too rooted in that East Coast style. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So we released that beer in spring of 2013, and it caused a bit of a ruckus. Just because there were a lot of beer geeks and home brewers and beer fans out there that were pining for a West Coast IPA, and then we just kind of released our version of it, and they were just like, finally someone's done this. We had no idea. We had no idea that people had been waiting for this style of beer. We're just like, that was the one we drank, and was like, well, this is the better version, West Coast all the way.
Excellent.
So how does the market look today? Is that totally changed, or is it kind of 50-50?
Changed. it's so radically different right now. It was like that was like the floodgates. Not that we were the first. I mean, there was another brewery, Pit Caribou. They released a West Coast IPA at the same time. Pretty soon after that, Dieu du Ciel released Moralité, which is their West Coast IPA. They had brewed that years ago with The Alchemist as a collaboration, but I don't think they'd ever bottled it and released it in Quebec. So they released theirs, which is now widely available, and now we've got other. They're too numerous to mention now. So this is only 3 years.
That's amazing.
We've got new breweries like Oval, which is a farmhouse brewery, which is releasing. Brett IPAs, which are, up in the top 10 in the world in rate beer now, coming out of Quebec. So, there's some really, really good stuff in Quebec, both, clean side IPAs like ours and Brett IPAs as well. So it's radically changed in 3 years. It's just not the same place.
What I like about your IPA is that there's that firm bitterness that an IPA should have, obviously. And then there is that tropical kind of hop flavor that's right in the middle, and they don't blend together, and I mean this in a very good way, where you still get the bitterness that kind of rides through from beginning to end, but there's the tropical notes underneath and the softer kind of fruity notes, and it works really, really well together. It is kind of a unique hop flavor profile for me. I mean, I don't drink IPAs except on the show, but this to me stands out in that regard. It's clean, it's dry, but the way the hops are layered kind of has this different order of presentation on my palate that to me is pretty unique. If that makes any sense at all.
Hopefully it smells good. What's the date on that? I think it's pretty fresh.
It's only a week old.
Oh, good.
It was the last week of September.
Yeah, 2609. I didn't want to freak anyone out.
For us personally, IP. I mean, that's our flagship beer. It accounts for most of our sales, but most of the development we're doing new beers is all on the wild side. But hops is an interesting thing. I mean, we had to learn that early on. If you're going to have an IPA as your flagship beer, any brewery, you better get your hop contracts sorted out well in advance. And,
no hops, no flagship.
Yeah. Well, so I'm glad that's a good transition, because I did want to crack open, I think it's the Colorado. I'm not entirely sure because half the bottle is kind of, so, the shipment broke, as we talked about in transit, and so 2 or 3 of these bottles didn't make it. But the rest, like the label, look at that. The label just kind of got sloughed off, so it really just says Olorado. But
Colorado.
I'm assuming it's Colorado.
I like Olorado. Yeah,
you can use it. I get 20% of all sales.
So this beer is.
Is that a good one to open next in like a transitional thing?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, this beer, we called it an American Wild Ale because we didn't quite know how to classify it. So we thought, let's just call it by the style name. And it's called Colorado because it's brewed. Primary ferment is with Brett Dre, so it's the strain isolated by Avery and BSI Colorado.
Okay,
so that's why we named it that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, all right.
So, we tried to get the fruity esters of Brett and primary fermentation, and then did a pretty decent sized Pacific Northwest dry hop on it, and then bottle conditioned, again with Brett, and let it sit for 3 months in the bottle. So yeah, that's the end result.
Are you you're primarily a Brett, like farmhouse kind of direction that you guys are going?
That's
your focus.
That's the direction. Well, I say that. I mean, it depends if you look at sales or if you look at kind of brands. Like most of our new brands that are coming out. Like this year we probably will by the end of the year have put out 9 or 10 new brands of beer, which for us is a lot. We don't generally put out that many, and they're 100% on the Brett side. There won't be a new clean side brand this year. Because the clean side is really just, we're trying to, we have a few brands we've had to cut it down to because the demand for the IPA is so high. It's taking up so much of our brewhouse capacity.
As and I'm sorry if I cut you off, but as somebody who clearly spends a lot of time and effort with these delicate beers with the Brett, I mean, we know that it takes a lot of labor and it takes a lot of time. Does it piss you off that people are clamoring for IPA?
Well, you know what? I've come full circle.
It's just you and I here. There's nobody else is listening, so it's just,
Yeah, we aren't.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes disappointed by, like I don't know, like the farmhouse houblon. You've got a couple bottles of that.
Yeah.
And one is from the original batch, and then one's a more recent batch. It's a highly rated beer. It's been critically, really well received. But you wouldn't know that if you looked at the sales numbers. It's quite modest in terms of sales. Whereas the IPA, the IPA it's interesting. It's interesting. At one point when we were getting into the Bretts, we were so charged up about it. We thought, well, this is what it's all going to be Bretts from now on. But we've had to come full circle on that and appreciate that. No, the clean side beers are driving this ship, and the Bretts really are a much smaller percentage of what we're actually selling. So we need to keep both going, but most of the creativity, most of the new recipe design and development is all on the Brett side. We feel like there's just more possibilities with the Brett, and it's just the kind of beers we like to drink, drier, lower in alcohol. Like we've evolved a lot as a brewery in 4 years. We were drinking, we still make barrel aged beers, but one of the first beers that we released in 2012, I think, which was a bit shocking to some people, was an 11% bourbon barrel aged wee heavy. For us, it was just a natural extension. Working with barrels, with oak, of the carpentry, it made perfect sense. So we went straight into barrel aging.
Are you doing your own cooperage there?
No, there's a video on on the Facebook page of us putting together a giant foeder. So we have built foeders and stuff, and we've dismantled and built barrels before. It's all
your own foeders?
Well, not from scratch. Like we had them dismantled in France and sent over, and then we
put them together.
Then we rebuilt them. I'll try and send you the link.
And you got them to not leak and all that. That's great and worked. Wow.
These are master carpenters.
Well, these have got wooden skills.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's it. So, for us, oak barrels are just like, well, of course we're going to barrel age. It made perfect sense. So
you're woodworkers, yes.
Yeah. And, when we first launched the brewery, we launched this 11% Scotch ale and bourbon barrels. And we were drinking those beers and really digging those beers. And fast forward to now. And, I don't drink those beers at all. And this is sacrilege, but I rarely drink, IPA and stuff. I'm really.
Yes, I applaud you, my friend.
What's going on over there?
I'm clapping.
Okay.
He's in the 30%.
Yeah, I'm in the 30%. The less people drinking IPA, I think, the better craft beer will be in general in the long run.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's, that's the thing. So we've evolved, and also alcohol. The alcohol has come down in terms of what I like to drink personally.
Yeah.
Complexity, dryness, like bone dryness, and it's a challenge making a beer that's going to ferment to 0 in the bottle. Be balanced, right? This is a big challenge. It's always those low alcohol beers that are really hard. Our ISA, it took 5 batches to get that to where we wanted it because it's not an IPA. It doesn't have that alcohol to balance all those hops.
What's an ISA?
India Session Ale.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't send one of those to you.
No.
No, that's it. So
if you did, it broke.
It's been a real challenge, but there has been a real sort of steep evolution of where our palates have gone in 4 years and the kind of beers we want to make. But we're not, we can't just say, oh, we're not going to brew IPA. It's the complete engine of the brewery. It's what's allowing us to explore all these other avenues.
So are you selling 0 degree Play-Doh beer, like finishing gravity?
Yeah, well, the farmhouse houblon, those are 0. They ferment out to 0 in the bottle. Most of the Brett beers, if it's like 7% and under, and it's a relatively pale malt bill, they'll get down to 0 or darn near close to it. If they're like, we have a dark Saison, dark farmhouse. I didn't send that one. I didn't have one kicking around, which finishes a bit higher, the higher alcohol stuff. Like you have one there called Sanctuaire, which is a bigger Abbey triple red wine barrel aged and then fermented with Brett for actually like over a year in the bottle. That never got down to 0, the high alcohol. But the lower stuff, pale malt bill, reasonable alcohol, not severe acidity, like. If it's not too acid, then it should get down pretty close to 0 in the bottle.
Wow, Doc, what do you think of this beer? It's like Colorado.
It's a lot milder than I thought it would be. It's a real nice Brett character, but it's not super acidic. I can't get behind the really acidic ones.
I feel like that's kind of the Brett beers that we get over here.
What's that?
Kind of a little more aggressive, a little more acidic, a little more.
In what way? Oh, on pH side?
Yeah, they just got a lot more acid backbone to them, and kind of more. I guess you push it into the American style sour ale, and
this one. I mean, none of the ones I sent you have any kind of bacteria in them. I mean, are you talking about like beers that are getting that much acidity just from Brett, or these are
people are
pre-soured or long-term soured?
I guess you'd put it in the Cantillon style, where it just got
real sours.
Yeah, and not just a Brett beer, but they're rounded out pretty much. But I get a lot of them that just have a lot of acidity to them.
Well, and there's still a lot of beer character in here, and sometimes you can get those Brett beers that's just so Brett that nothing can really come through the character,
and it's soft and Brett.
And that's what kind of drew me. So I first found out about you guys, Daniel, from our friend Blobber in the chat room, and he had left me a couple of bottles of the Houblon, I believe. This was like back in November or whatever, and I think that they were already had some age on them. Because like this Colorado, I think was bottled in April. Here you go, Tasty.
That's it. The hops have probably they've faded a little bit, and I find it's more of the Brett character coming through in that beer now. Yeah,
it's faded a little bit, but there's still that kind of grassy, earthy note from the dry hops that you get that we kind of like, right? So I got these beers in November, and I think I cracked them. I want to say like April. Like just one bottle, and it was probably the day before I emailed you, because the beer blew me away. Like it absolutely stunned me. How the Brett character kind of came through, balanced really well with everything else that was going on in that beer. It was very kind of Orval like. And just gentle and soft, but still had depth, and it was an amazing beer, and I can't wait to drink it again here on the air. I was blown away by it. I really was.
Oh, great! I mean, that was, and I
don't like a lot of shit. Like I'm kind of an asshole, so that's
he's in the 1%.
Kinda, yeah. So nothing really gets me floored like that, really.
Well, speaking of Orval, I like the Orval character in this Colorado beer. I think it's really good. Yeah. I like it's sort of neutral in terms of the I'll say yeast character. And so it lets the malts and the hops really come through. Yeah. What is that hop? Is that some Nelson in there?
Well, it's been a while. They're Pacific Northwest hops.
Okay.
We have a pretty tight range of hops we can use, being certified organic. We don't get a lot of them.
That's right. I keep forgetting.
The newer, trendier hops.
Sure.
So we have to use the old faithfuls like Centennial, Simcoe, Citra. Those are kind of the primary aroma hops we have to work with. So we probably would have used most or all of those in that beer. But I mean, you get a lot of the fruit too with that yeast strain when you use it in primary. So it's interesting that the yeast esters and the hops it's hard to distinguish.
I think I'm guilty of like associating Brett fermentation character with hops that typically associated like Sterling or Nelson or something like that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think the character is more leaning towards the yeast esters in that beer now. When it was fresh, I think there was a bit more. It would have been leaning more towards the hops. And the farmhouse houblon is a similar idea. And it was you mentioned Orval and all that. I mean, it was inspired by Orval. Like
everybody's inspired by that.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Like that's like the first Brett beer that if you get to try it and it's gotten all horsey and horse blanket. You're like, oh, that's what the Brett's doing. Okay, it's the light bulb going off when you drink Orval. So we were like, a lot of the decisions we've made as a brewery have been out of necessity through lack of space or lack of funds, like a lot of young breweries. And the whole thing with the farmhouse houblon was to try and take a page out of Orval's book, not copy the beer. Their beer is I believe it's more amber. It's more of a Belgian pale ale. But
copy the marketing approach.
Use the Brett just in the bottle even, and get all of the Brett dryness and complexity and funk during bottle conditioning. So that was the concept behind Farmhouse Houblon, was to brew a Saison, to dry hop it with a decent dry hop, like Pacific Northwest again. So it's kind of a hybrid, and then just bottle it with Brett. So get it down to the right gravity, like around 1 Plato, in the fermenter. And then literally don't prime it, just add Brett and let it go down to 0 in the bottle, and you'll end up with 3 to 3.5 volumes in the bottle. And because the Brett's working pretty hard in the bottle, you get the funk and the complexity that comes along with it.
Wow. So in the primary fermentation, in terms of mash profile, are you using a lower temperature to make simple sugars so the Brett's not working real hard, or are you raising it up a little bit so that way it's got to work during primary?
Well, with the Saison strain, it doesn't seem to matter a whole heck of a lot. It's, this is a dry version of French Saison, which is a beast, as you guys probably know. It doesn't matter a whole lot, but we do tend to mash lower because, again, we're impatient. So we're trying to get down to about 1 Plato, as quick as we can in the fermenters. So by mashing lower, the primary yeast strain, the Saison strain, is going to get there hopefully a bit quicker. And we'll artificially halt fermentation at that point, because the Saison does have a habit, especially on some repitches, it can go even lower in the FV, and then you don't have enough residual in the bottle for the Brett to properly carbonate the beer. So this was this weird technique we came up with, because most people just ferment out in a barrel over a longer period of time and either get to 0 in the barrel or get to a stable gravity. Then they'll prime and not even necessarily use a Brett when they're bottle conditioning. You can use a sack, you can use a champagne yeast, whatever. But we wanted to free up the FV quicker. So again, because we were so tiny and we didn't have space for barrels and we only had a limited amount of FVs, we're like, well, we've got to move this beer through the fermenter a bit quicker. How can we do this? So the idea was to use the Saison to get down to the 1 to 1.2 range as quickly as we could. And then you've got another week of dry hopping there. And then, crash it, get it into a bottling tank, and then rack in a fresh, healthy pitch of Brett and say, have fun.
So how many days of fermentation did you save by taking out sooner?
Well, it depends.
A day or a week, or
like for your turnaround?
Yeah. Okay. How many days did it take off the fermentation time to do that?
With the Saison yeast, it's pretty vigorous. It would usually get down pretty low, like to 2 or 3, within a week or so, and then it will kind of chew away like Saison, like Belle Saison. I've talked to the guys at L'Allemand who have a base here in Montreal, And they actually, the Belle Saison strain, the French Saison strain, actually, they say it has the ability, like a Brett, to break down, complex sugars. But it needs time to do that. In the same way that a Brett can do that most sack strains can't do. So it would usually take a week of slowly, bubbling away to get down to where we needed to. So you could in theory, run 2 weeks of primary with a good Saison pitch, a week of dry hopping, and then we don't filter. So at most we would biofine, crash cool and biofine, and try and clarify the beer a bit that way, because the Saison is pretty fussy, as you know. It's hard to get out of the beer. And then rack over to the bottling tank. So realistically, we give ourselves a month between brew day and kind of packaging day, and then we would wait at least 3 months before we would release the beer. So it spends most of its time in the warehouse in bottles, warm, developing that dryness and the Brett character.
Done at Orval as well.
The warm is okay for you guys.
What's that?
The warm is okay. The warmth is being stored warm is good. That's what you want.
Yeah, well, that's another funny thing we run up against, because we first produced this beer in February or something, and our warehouse was at 15 degrees, and that puts the Brett to sleep. Not all strains of Brett will tolerate that low a temperature. So I was like, what's going on here? This hasn't moved in 3 weeks. Doing bottle tests every week, and sure enough, we had to heat the building. So we didn't want to. We were cheap and lacking funds, so we didn't want to turn the heat up to bring the whole warehouse up to 20 plus degrees Celsius. So we built a 2x4 shed around the pallets of farmhouse houblon and insulated it and put a little space heater in there. And we kept this shed, at 25 degrees Celsius to keep the Brett happy. And then obviously as production grew, that was pretty impractical, but that's what we did. We had it incubating in this heated blanket for the first winter.
I love it.
Did you do preliminary tests like homebrew size batch on knowing what gravity you need to get down to in order to do the Brett conditioning in the bottle?
Oh man, that is such a tricky subject. It took dozens and dozens and dozens of tests to try and get an understanding of what residual gravity, when you're going into the bottle, where you're going to end up at the end. I don't know if many other people are doing this technique. It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah,
we love it already.
Yeah, I mean it's so basically, a beer like this, it's pale, it's very fermentable, it's wheat, it's rye, it's malted barley. It's going to go to zero. We have to assume it's going to go to zero. With other beers like a dark farmhouse that we have, or we have a Brett bitter, which is like an English bitter fermented out, fermented with Clauseni in the bottle. It's like a concept beer. Like what would a bitter have tasted 200 years ago, when there was most likely Brett in that beer, but it didn't have time to develop because it was a running beer. It was served so quickly and it was running through the cask so fast in the pub. So we said, well, what if we give it the chance to develop? What if you forgot a cask in the corner of the pub for a few months? So that was the idea behind that beer.
What happened?
It was nice. It's nice. The Clauseni works really well with the Brett base, but again, it's about balance. So the first batch we put out became a bit too thin. So everyone's like, well, this isn't a bitter. It doesn't have the body. Well, it does say Brett before the bitter.
Right.
So, but they were right, and we knew it, and we got called on it, and so the second batch, we ambered it up a bit and put a few more unfermentables in there to try and balance the quality of the bitter with the Brett. So the current recipe is better, but something like that, even with a little bit of crystal malt in it, that's going to change your terminal gravity in the bottle. You may only finish at 0.6 to 0.8. So we take that into consideration. When we stop that beer, for example, we'll stop it a bit higher. We'll stop it at, let's say 1.7 or 1.8 Plato, if it hasn't stopped there by itself. And then, dark beer, same thing. Highly acidic beers, like we haven't done a lot of sours. We're moving in that direction. We've been playing around a lot with like last year Lacto, this year PDO. We're not in love in love with quick sours. That's a whole topic, I'm sure. But I mean, the acidity of the beer will obviously affect the way the Brett performs in the bottle too, and the funk it's going to throw or lack of. So yeah, we've had to do like dozens and dozens and dozens of bottle tests on the homebrew level to try and figure it for this technique. And yeah, I don't even know if it's a good one to use, to be honest. It was, like I said, it was born out of necessity to do it this way. To try and get the beer moving because we're so small, and to not have it tying up in FV for 2 to 3 months, while you wait for that to hit terminal gravity, so you can just prime and use a sack yeast or whatever in the bottle. So that's how we ended up with it.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, we've cracked another beer, the Brett Zest Saison. Am I saying that right?
There you go. Yep.
All right. And I thought it was interesting because it's brewed with authentic Saison and wild Brett yeast. We've added citrus zest and juice with some cracked pepper.
Yep.
What kind of zest and juice? I would guess lemons, but I don't know.
Can you smell it? Has it still got a zestiness to it?
It does, but I don't know if I'm getting it from the yeast, the pepper, or the hops, or it's subtle enough where I can't pick it out. Maybe grapefruit, but I would assume lemons. Doc, yeah, tasty.
Get some grapefruit.
Warren, what do you think?
Yeah, I would have picked grapefruit.
Grapefruit?
Yeah.
All right. I think that's the consensus.
Yeah, there's a lot of grapefruit.
I knew it.
You were right.
I pegged it right from the jump.
Dang, how'd you do that?
Now we brewed that beer on the clean side. We try, just a low gravity, just a summer saison, like 4.5%, with a bit of zest in the whirlpool, along with the juice, because we're zesting these things by hand. So you end up with all this juice at the end of it. So you may as well throw that in too, right?
You put that at the whirlpool.
Yeah, so when we brewed it on the clean side in the bombers, so all our clean side beers in the bombers, and then our wild beers in those nice 500 milliliter champagne bottles.
Yeah.
So we did it on the clean side, and it just never quite lived up to what we had hoped the beer would be, I guess. So we moved it over to the Brett side, and by doing that, I'm not saying you can be sloppy, but it opens up, it relieves a lot of the stress of working with fruit and contamination, right? So now you don't have to throw it in the whirlpool, you don't have to throw it in the kettle, and deal with those nightmares of possibly, screwing up the heat X and all that. You can chuck it straight in the fermenter. So, and this is one of the beers that smashed. That was the same thing, the hibiscus beer. Anyway, we won't talk about that, but. So we wanted to kind of boost the zest flavor and really see how far we could go with zest in the FV after primary fermentation. So we added a ton, and it's mostly grapefruit with I think it was like 7 cases of grapefruits, 1 case of lemons, and be careful with the limes, like half a case of limes, because they punch way above their weight in terms of the flavor. They're tough little guys. And
in a 10-barrel batch?
No, so that would be probably a 40 barrel. Most of our fermenters are now 4 times brew house. So
you zested all this fruit, and then you just threw the chopped up fruit in, or you squeeze the juice out? How'd you do that?
Yeah, so we have it's really homebrew scale, but it works really well. It's a zip zester, and it's a heavy commercial grade zester, and you just wine the fruit on there, and in like 5-10 seconds you've got your fruit is perfectly zested. It doesn't take too much of the white. It really takes the zest.
Good job.
And then we go we juice it right away, and we fill up buckets with the juice, which is amazing. I mean, the brewery just smells incredible. And we just dry zested the thing, just like you were dry hopping it. And so now we're not losing.
Okay, so to a 40 barrel, what volume of juice do you think you put in? Like a barrel, 2 barrels?
The juice, maybe I'm thinking in liters, but not even a barrel, I wouldn't say. Maybe almost a barrel, maybe 50, 60 liters at most, like not far off. So yeah, I mean, and it was because we wanted to, because often when, you see there's zest in a beer, sometimes it can be so subtle it kind of gets lost in the mix.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
But isn't the zest more pronounced than the fruit juice itself, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, the fruit juice, like, it ferments out, right?
Yeah, it's just like another source of sugar.
Exactly. The Saison just wakes up and devours it. So,
well, yeah, especially with the citrus, right?
Right, with the citrus
tons of
juice,
acidity, right?
Would add acidity.
It does add a little bit of acidity for sure. I mean, I can't remember what the pH of the beer is, but I mean, we're with all these fruit beers on the bread side, we're trying to go as far as we can, and then what happens is on the next batch we usually end up dialing it back a bit, because like so often like I say, you have a beer that talks a lot about the fruit, the zest in it, and you just like, where is it? Or the fruit that's in the beer, and you're like, where is it? And you're just not getting enough of that character. So we were probably guilty of over zesting the first batch of this beer.
Guilty.
Yeah. For sure, and so we tried to dial it back. I think that's batch number 2. You guys can be the judge if we need to tweak it or not. But
no, I think it's great. I mean, and it was bottled 5, 12, 16. So it has
5/12. So
what is that? June,
May.
No.
Yeah.
No, that can't be right.
Well,
why can't it?
Because 5/12 would be the 5th of December.
Well, so I mean, it's written 12/5/16, but
he's reading it properly.
I figured you were doing the European.
Yeah, okay, so it's the 12th of it's the 12th of
May.
May.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to make a lot of things really hard on you. So
why can't we be friends on the date? Why do we have to be different?
Dude, I have no idea. I literally, there's tons of things like this. I literally have no idea why.
I know.
So this bottle is a different shape than the others. Is this like a half liter or something, or?
That's it. That's the 500 ml brown champagne, right? That's the same as the Colorado and Farmhouse.
It's another cap bottle, and but you still do both. Now, are these hand bottled, or you have that on a machine as well?
Yeah, so we hand bottled everything to begin with. On the clean side, because we only started doing Brett beers a year ago. So on the clean side, we started with the manual thing, and then we got a Maheen. You guys are probably familiar with.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's kind of the classic micro, craft brewery under a certain barrelage a year bottle filler, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing that occupies less space and is as efficient as that. So it's we're still using the Maheen on the clean side, and on the Brett side, we went back to hand bottling. So the early ones were all hand bottled, and then we were just like, wow, we really need to stop hand bottling, and got another bottling line, because, as you know, the risks of cross contamination are pretty high, and also the Maheen has quite a few plastic parts on it as well. That's what keeps it affordable. But at the same time, you can't run 95-degree water and caustic and stuff through that machine. So there was no way we were going to put Brett through a Maheen. We had to invest in a completely separate bottling line. We have a rotary head gravity filler from Germany and another whole labeling thing, and it's just like it's creating a second brewery within the brewery. So completely separate hoses, butterflies, pumps, valves, everything, FVs, bottling tanks. It's pretty insane.
So after the brew house heat exchanger, you totally separate the clean and the funky side of the brewery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes we're forced to use clean side fermenters for Brett beers, and we always try, like, do we need Brett in primary? Like, we don't completely need Brett in primary. We won't put it on that side. But if we have to, we have to. Sometimes we do, and we swap out every single gasket, the Manway gaskets. We do double caustic. We take a lot of precautions.
Just run the hot water. That's all you need. That should take care of everything, right?
Hot water? Yeah. We love hot water.
Kills everything.
We love that shit over here.
It does.
Yeah, whatever.
Hot water Sani, that's our motto.
That's everything. It's dangerous as hell.
Yeah, bugs can't survive heat.
You don't have chemicals and whatnot? You just use the hot
double
water?
caustic, but Really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to use caustic, as well. But like for example, on our bright tanks, like peracetic acid, like the no rinse final acid wash. I don't know what you guys normally use. When you're doing it.
Is very common.
What's your no rinse acid that you guys use?
Star San is the
for home breweries, yeah. But the commercial breweries usually use peracetic.
Yeah. So that's it. So we were kind of chasing O2 levels and wondering why our beer, we were getting some oxidation quicker than we were, expecting.
Yeah.
And we were using quite a strong peracetic in our bright tanks.
Yeah, no rinse.
Yeah, there's no, it's not getting scrubbed out by fermentation. So we stopped doing that. So we use like a 90-degree rinse after we've done caustic, the bright tank, and
that's everything. Yeah.
It does take a while for the peracetic to break down enough where you don't actually get some oxidation.
That's it. Yeah. We still use it on fermenters wherever there's going to be, vigorous ferment going on. But, yeah, no, for sure. Hot water is critical. We have an outrageous amount of HLTs. I mean, 3 HLTs for our little brewery. But it seems you never have enough. It's crazy.
And it's got to be a temperature. Or it's useless.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we keep it in the 90s, and yeah. It's good fun. Good fun. The whole mechanical backstory to running a brewery in a carpentry workshop where you don't have the power you need and all that kind of stuff. It's a whole other show.
My takeaway, what you said earlier, is we were idiots.
Yeah,
it's just. I mean, it's so much about everybody's really almost every beginning to end. We started a brewery. Who knows how we got here? Kind of thing. Has that as the underlying theme. We have no idea what we were doing.
No clue.
I believe we got here.
You kind of stumble through it, and if you're putting out good product, I think
all about good beer.
That's like a Band-Aid over the trials and tribulations and the stumbling points that you had previously. Like, good beer trumps any sort of bad business move to a certain extent.
Yeah, it almost makes opening a brewery worth it.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, but I think all that stuff kind of falls away, but you can, maybe your lack of foresight on distribution, for example, can be overlooked if you're cranking out great beers.
Right.
Like nobody who makes subpar beers is going to be, the distribution is hard to get. You have to go there, but don't worry about it. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, it has to be worth it in the end. You have to be producing a good product, and that kind of cures everything.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're lucky. It took us, like I said, it took us a long time to become viable, and that was even with like a really strong following. We've been really fortunate to have amazing support from day one. But part of that is this responsibility you feel as a brewer to not put stuff that's mediocre out there or that isn't up to expectation. I mean, we've dumped so much beer in the last 2 years. Like the whole foeder program, like we started a foeder program.
It was also a dumping program. It sounds like. Go ahead.
It became a dumping program. We started in 2014 to fill foeders. And I just removed the last one from the brewery and put it in a field.
Oh, geez. and then shot at it with shotgun.
Well, that tells me you're a great brewer when you know when to dump beer. That's a badge of courage, buddy.
Oh my God! Like, we've dumped so much, it's insane, and it's I think people appreciate that, because it's we don't even want to count what it costs, but our foeder program, I think, is the greatest failure foeder program ever.
Oh no!
In the world. I mean, we had 10 foeders. We had like 7 of them full of beer, and they were decent size. They're like 4,000 liter foeders, and every single one got dumped.
Oh, geez. What happened?
Unfortunately, 3 of them got bottled, and
then dumped
and destroyed. So, but it was just like, wow, this is incredible. Like, epic failure. And took a lot of precautions and did a lot of reading. There's no handbook for a foeder program, but I mean, you talk to winemakers, you talk to other people. Some of the brewers in our industry are, some of the even pretty big ones in the U.S. Who are known for foeder aging are pretty cool people that will, respond to the odd email, not trying to abuse that or anything, but, it still went. It went horribly wrong. We were just developing off flavors that were completely unacceptable. And I was just like, you know what? To hell with this. Like, this isn't working. Let's just remove the problem.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah,
that's smart.
So that's the thing. Like, I don't understand like people releasing beer that's bad or has off flavors for business reasons, because it's a fallacy. Like, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your downstream business operation if you start, because your reputation is everything, and your support, your following is everything, their trust is everything. So,
well, the classic example of that is the odd, it's our Belgian pale ale, guys, and everyone knows full well it's fucking not Belgian. You didn't put Belgian yeast in it. Something got in there and jacked your shit up. And
it's our movie theater beer.
It's like, what are you guys doing, man? It's very clear if you pay a little bit of attention to the beer industry that this is not how it's supposed to taste.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break real fast, but before I do, I want to tell you guys about Williams Brewing. They are your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. You like to mash using efficient fly sparging, but would like an easy way to heat your strike and sparge water? Enter the new Brewer's Edge electric mash water heater, a plug-in anywhere, precisely controlled heater for strike and sparge water. Ditch the fumes and second burner and make mashing easy. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays, shipped the same day. Brewing is easy. Of course, you guys know this. The Williams way. It's the session, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
If you haven't heard, there's a completely new brand of brewing equipment. Kettles, burners, and accessories. Trustworthy everyday gear that helps you forge and shape outstanding beer the way you want. It's called Anvil Brewing Equipment.
Hi, I'm John Palmer. You may remember me from such self-help books as How to Brew, Brewing Classic Styles, Water, and the Brew Strong podcast. I am very pleased to announce the debut of Anvil Brewing Equipment from Blickman Engineering. I have been working closely with them these past few years to develop products that combine the best of materials, features, and price point. Each of these products has been developed, tested, and reviewed to meet these ideals and bears the Palmer Brewing Solutions stamp of approval on the packaging. Anvil Brewing Equipment, inspired by Palmer, built by Blickman, and made for you.
Check out anvilbrewing.com. Anvil. Durable, reliable, dependable.
Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. New at Williams is the innovative line of Intertap forward-sealing beer faucets with interchangeable spouts, as well as a new grain mill motorizing kit that features a gear motor that spins your mill at the correct 180 RPM without the need for hazardous belts. Also new is the Mark II wort pump, a magnetic drive high-temperature pump that starts at only $69.99, but does the job of pumps costing twice as much. Other exclusives include their Brewer's Edge mini regulators in many configurations, as well as their exclusive line of Keg King kegs and Keg King disconnects. Go to williamsbrewing.com to browse their vast selection. From now until September 30th, enter web coupon NETWORK at checkout with any order of $75 or more and get a free Williams Brewing baseball hat with your order.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
If you work in retail sales, the restaurant industry, or are a new craft beer enthusiast, or you know someone who is, you have got to check out Beer 101. Beer 101 is an online course created for anyone wanting a quick introduction to the vast world of craft beer. Beer 101 covers the history of beer, brewing ingredients and processes, vital stats like ABV, SRM, IBU, and gravity, styles, tasting, glassware, and pairing beer with food. The Beer 101 course is offered by the Brewers Association at craftbeer.com. Also home to the truly awesome Beer Style Finder, a visual guide to every beer style. Quickly play with color, bitterness, and alcohol content to interactively explore the entire world of beer styles with a gorgeously designed interface to your favorite beverage. The new Beer 101 course and new Beer Style Finder are only available at craftbeer.com. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
You're
tuned into this session.
Because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody.
You're
Doc,
welcome.
Yeah.
You have a phone call, Doc. Do you want to take a phone call?
Sure, I'd take a phone call.
All right, you want to take a phone call. Let's see if I can...
Can't imagine who it is.
Okay, here we go. Sounds like a prank call to me. I don't know.
I've been getting them all night.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
But you know what's not weird?
Is?
You can go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs, plus a free exclusive gift. And to top it all off, they will even throw in free shipping on your entire order. So this is what you get. 50% off almost any one item. 3 free DVDs. Something called the free Power O vibrating ring. The clip bumper is gone. We sold them out. So now they got the Power O vibrating ring, and you got free shipping. AdamandEve.com and use code BNARMY at checkout. That's BNARMY at AdamandEve.com for all of your, I don't know, vibrating needs, I guess, right?
For all your Power O-ing needs.
I mean, everyone needs a...
Whose O doesn't need more power?
So,
what's the code? Rosanna?
it's Rosanna. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but I went to Hawaii a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's pretty cool.
Why'd you go?
It's anniversary. It's a wedding anniversary.
Oh, you got married?
Yeah, I got married last year.
Oh, wow, last year.
It's a whole thing. I don't like to brag about it.
Oh, okay.
And one of Taryn's coworkers, I gave her a really nice, basket, essentially, like this big duffel of just crap, like headphones, like fucking earbud headphones and snacks for the plane and water bottles for us to fill up and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was really, really sweet. And she gave her a couple, like, girly magazines to read. I didn't get anything, but whatever. Huh. And one of them was a Cosmo and a Cosmopolitan. And on the front cover, it was like, get more power in your O. And it had like 8 exclamation points. And she was like putting together her stuff to read on the plane. And she goes, I don't need to read any of this. And I turned the Cosmo to her and I just pushed it to her. And it's like, you should probably read that.
Did you highlight
the
article?
I need as much help as I can get. And anyway.
Well, why didn't you read it?
That power O. Because it's not my orgasm. That's not my orgasm. I don't know.
You're supposed to help her to get that.
Right.
Well, but if it was written from the third person, but it was written like first person or maybe second person, and I can't, that's too much English for me. I don't know how to switch it around.
Hey, how about do this? And she'd be like, oh, wow, you're so smart, Jason.
You really know your way. Why did you wait 7 years to tell me these things?
Yeah. Well,
why do you have paper cuts on your fingers?
You wanted to make sure she was worth it.
That's right. I know. I do.
You can't bring your A game every time.
Oh, stop.
I left the building.
Are you saying he's always on his A game?
Yes.
I'm not commenting on this one way or another. Just
well, you've seen them. You've seen the videos. You know, you can
stop speaking. I'm very flustered right now. First of all, I've not seen.
Yeah. I broke back.
Most women are.
I've seen no videos.
Those videos.
And if they actually existed, which, dear God, I hope they don't, I would not watch them ever. And
oh yeah, you gotta watch them.
Just stop.
Yeah, with popcorn.
I hate popcorn.
You got to say that. Find the 8 better ways for the more powerful.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Right. I mean, look, I have a whole stretching routine in there. It's a whole thing now, dude. It's a whole thing.
That's how you know you're old.
When you got to stretch, you got to stretch it out.
You don't know what he's stretching.
Well, you don't want to get a cramp. That's the worst. You get like a calf cramp or something.
Oh, so
that's not what I was thinking with cramping, but yeah, you can't have that butt cramp.
Anyway, we are on. We're still on with Dan from. Let's see if I can get this right. Le Castor.
Nice.
I did it. I did it good.
Very good.
I did it goodly. See, look at you, Warren. Warren was trying to tell me no.
You pronounced the S too hard.
Le Castor. How do you say it?
Le Castor.
Le Castor.
Short R. Yeah, you're right. Not Le Castor. Le Castor. Yeah, you're very close though.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We had some guy on from Estonia last week. That's a fucking brewery they named that's hard to pronounce. It was like Pujala. It's Pojhala, and it had like a tilde over the O, and all these kind of. I was lost, man.
Wow.
Your tongue was lost.
But I powered through it, because that's what we do here on the Brew Network, Dan. We power through stuff.
Right.
Speaking of powering through, I'm opening. The name of the beer, the label's all jacked up. I think it's the Cersei.
Oh, the Cerise.
Cerise, yeah, there you go. Farmhouse. I told you it's all jacked up. There's a lady on a bike, and there's a bunch of cherries around her.
Farmhouse Cerise. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
What is that? Tell me about this beer, please, if you wouldn't mind.
So this is basically the same base beer as the Farmhouse Houblon.
Okay.
But instead of having hops or houblon as one of the primary flavors and ingredients, it's we didn't do the dry hop this time around. Instead, we did primary fermentation with Brett and Saison yeast, and then racked it onto sour cherries, organic sour cherries, and let it ferment on those for I think about 3 months, and then bottle conditioned it for another 2 or 3 months. When was that bottled? Do you know?
Oh God, good.
He jacked up the.
That's one part of the label that's there. 14/06/16.
Okay, yeah. So 14th of June. Yeah. So how long is that? 1, 2, 3, 2.5 months. Yeah. So that's it. Basically just farmhouse. But, we wanted to, this is the first beer we've really done with fruit, to be honest. We've used like raisins and dates, things like that as more of, I guess, a spice before, but not a true fruit beer. So this is the first time we've done like an extended re-fermentation with Brett on fruit. Okay. And, we've got more in the pipeline.
Actually, to that end, I do have a question from the chat about fruit beers, if you wouldn't mind fielding a question.
Sure.
This is from, hey, food will be ready at 7:30. He says, beer topher. Beer topher?
Yeah.
All right. I didn't scroll up, and I was trying to make fun of you. I was trying to mock you subtly.
But you ended up just making yourself look dumb.
Yeah.
It's much better on the second show.
Yeah. He says, hey, you guys have any experience pitching Brett into a higher ABV beer for a secondary fruit fermentation? Also did a high step in the beer to get more long chain sugars in there for the Brett. I don't know what that second part means, but so he's asking if you have an experience pitching Brett into higher ABV beer for secondary fermentation with fruit.
We did one of the fooders we dumped. So I don't know if you want my advice or not.
Go ahead, because I'm going to say it was the fooder, not the process.
Yeah, I like the way you think.
Thanks, man.
Well, definitely, we would up the amount of Brett we're pitching with high ABV. Depends on how high an ABV we're talking about. You have the other bottle I think you have is Sanctuary, which is a 10% Abbey ale.
We do have that, yeah.
That one, I don't think that one fermented as low as I thought it may go. If it fermented fine, it's carbonated enough, the beer. But yeah, obviously high alcohol is a more stressful environment, so you're going to want to increase the pitch size, I would say, or starter, or if it's on the homebrew scale. In terms of changing, I think he was asking about maybe a different mash schedule to leave more sugar for the Brett. I don't know. If you're racking it onto fruit anyway, it really depends. We wouldn't necessarily do that. We'd want to dry the beer out pretty well in the fermenter and then rack onto fruit. So, the Brett is really just focusing on the fruit and not getting distracted by, other stuff that it can ferment. So I'm not sure unless you've got, unlimited time. I'm not sure that the higher residual gravity as well as the fruit, I don't know what that would give you, to be honest, because if it's funk or you're hoping for the Brett to express itself more, I'm not sure. I'm not sure you would get more of it that way. We get plenty in the bottle just sometimes doing the bottle re-fermentation, but those are the kinds of things you have to experiment with, because even if I said definitely, yeah, great idea, it may work for us, but it's not necessarily going to work for other people in their setup. I find it's very particular to your to the water you're using and to the conditions you put the yeast into. But
how do you manage?
I'm waffling now.
How do you manage your Brett pitching? Are you doing cell counts? Are you using just volumes of previous beers that you brewed?
Yeah, we're pretty ghetto. We really just pitch by weight. So we have tons and tons of like 60-liter. The yeast propagators, they're made from half barrel kegs basically. And we have tons of those around the brewery. So we've always, we've got 60-liter pitches of like propagations of Brett going at all times. And, we'll typically add, if it's one strain of Brett, let's say 30 liters, into a 40 barrel bottling, or if it's a couple strains, we'll add a bit more. So we're typically pitching by volume or weight. Cell counts, not as much. We do cell counts, I guess, more on the clean side, where, you want that beer, that clean side beer, to finish, at a pretty specific density after fermentation. Whereas on the Brett side, we kind of always feel like we're heading towards zero and we're going to get there. So if you slightly underpitch or slightly overpitch on the Brett side, I think the consequences are kind of less dire. Some people may argue with that and say that they get, obviously different profiles, but in our experience, it's pretty loose, but we do pitch by weight.
And how often are you pulling from one of those propagation tanks and topping it up with fresh wort?
Oh, we're continually topping them up. So on a weekly basis, where we drag them into the brew house, and we'll divert, fresh heat-exed wort from going into a clean FV, for example, and we'll top up these things. The Brett typically takes a good couple weeks to step up. So to get down to a reasonable gravity, like, 3 Plato, somewhere around there, we'll generally try to leave them a couple weeks before we pitch them into a beer for bottle conditioning or for a Brett primary, because we just want them to be, done, at least their little propagation that they're going through. And the Brett does seem to need a couple weeks to do that. So it's an ongoing rotating basis. We have like 5 or 6 different strains of Brett going, on a regular basis in the brewery. It's actually a challenge to manage all the different strains.
Like it.
You have on the clean side, you have these sack strains that are kind of your house strains, and you got a good handle on those. But when it comes to Brett, and now we're getting more into PDOs, and we're going down the sour beer avenue. You need literally dozens of these little propagators all over the brewery with various bacteria and Bretts available at the time, because if you don't have it, you've got to order it from a lab, and then you've got to step it up and all this stuff. So it can knock your plans back a good month if you don't have them on hand.
How many yeast do you have on the clean side?
Well, on the clean side, we use Cali Ale for most of what we do. Anything hop forward is California Ale. So our IPA, our ISA, our black IPA, these are all Cali Ale. We use SO4 as kind of on the dry side. Dry yeast SO4, we use that for things like our Scotch ale that goes into bourbon barrels and our oatmeal stout. So we kind of have some go-to stuff. We use Belle Saison dry yeast, which is French yeast, French Saison yeast. It's just easy to store the dry stuff. So we get we use some fermentus. It's just a lot easier to manage. Whereas obviously in liquid format, timing is a little more critical. So it seems to be a lot easier on the clean side, to be honest.
And if you're getting the result that you want, then they're great.
Yeah, I mean, we're always experimenting. Like we're always playing around. Like the oatmeal stout, we've tried a few strains, and we're going to keep experimenting. And but when it comes to hoppy beers, I mean, we learned our lesson. When we first brewed our IPA, our first batch went out. We were really happy with the beer, and then we thought. We were, quite inspired by what Stone was doing, and the, is it the Hops book or the IPA book came out, Mitch Steele's book?
The IPA.
And that was an amazing book. I mean, I was reading that book cover to cover and really trying to absorb what he was saying. And I think Stone used, is it 007 as their primary?
Yeah, it's more like their yeast, yeah.
So we thought, well, if it's good enough for Stone, I mean, we should give it a try, right? And
good strategy.
And it was a really bad idea. So batch 2 went out, and we used 007 just blind. We didn't test batch it, which is always fun. It's like, wow, that didn't work. So it smelled great in the fermenter. I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's a slightly different yeast character. We kind of see where the attraction is, and then we bottled it and sent it out, and it just went to diacetyl.
I was going to say, what about the diacetyl test? You didn't mention that.
Yeah, it went to diacetyl in the bottle, and we were horrified, absolutely horrified. So we're like, batch 2 of the IPA is a mess. So
What do you do when that happens? Sorry to just totally derail the story, but what's your process?
Well,
like, how do you handle that?
Get a bag of money and go buy all the beer.
At that point, we're talking 20-barrel batches, and they were basically evaporating, as soon as we delivered them. So we did talk to people kind of more one-on-one and explain to people we tried a new yeast with that particular batch, and it not only it wasn't just diacetyl, but it wasn't horrific. It wasn't a huge amount of diacetyl, but there was enough. I mean, we have a pretty low tolerance of diacetyl anyway, but it changed the way the hops came through. It completely changed the dry hop.
Highest flavors, yes.
Which is really interesting how yeast can do that. And you just talk to people. There wasn't a recall or anything. I mean, the beer just gets distributed and purchased too quickly. When it was gone.
And my experience is, and I bet this is what's happened with you as well, is that 90-95% of the people that are drinking this beer that got into the market don't know diacetyl. They're not cringing at the diacetyl flavor. They're just saying, well, this beer, it's not as, I don't like it as much as I'd like another beer, but they don't really. In fact, I've been in places where when they finally get the diacetyl out of the beer, people go like, I don't like your beer anymore. It doesn't taste like I like it.
Yeah, it's a funny thing that, I mean, it depends entirely on people's palates. I often bring home, the hand caps, the bottles that come through the bottling machine and don't get a cap on them. So you hand cap them beside the bottling line. So now they've got a decent amount of O2 in the headspace. So those are the ones, in low fills. We tend to bring those home and drink them.
And drink them fresh, yeah.
And, sometimes I'll be drinking them and I'm not sure of the age, and I've got, I'm with some friends, and they'll crack a bottle open and they're happily drinking away, and I'll grab it and smell it and just dump it out immediately. You're not drinking that. And
they thought it was great, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So they
slap it out of their hand.
What is that?
No. To me, sometimes knowing the beer off flavors is sort of a curse.
Mm-hmm. It totally is.
Some breweries need diacetyl, like McCausland. They're you guys have heard of them probably, and
no, I never heard of them.
McCausland Brewing? Yeah. Oh, they have. They're one of the original microbreweries in Quebec. They were back in the late '80s. They started up, so real pioneers and British style beers. And diacetyl is part of their flavor profile. And there's no way they're changing their yeast. There's just no way.
Actively on purpose.
It's their signature. And
okay.
They came out with a bunch of IPAs in the last few years. And you hear a lot of people, hollering you got to change your yeast strain to brew an American IPA. You just because you're gonna clean up the diacetyl, but it's they can do that. They know how to do that, but they don't want to. This is their signature. This is their style. This is the way their beer should taste and is going to taste. So, yeah, it's a funny thing, right?
Well, and there are plenty of American breweries with diacetyl in their beer, so it wouldn't be inaccurate,
right? How does that come through now that, well, I mean, you guys, I guess you were sort of alluding to it. The more information and the more knowledge that we have as craft beer drinkers to know that diacetyl is a flaw. I mean, is that kind of flavor profile wanted anymore in a beer?
Diacetyl in particular, or?
Well, specifically with and I understand you don't want to call anybody out or say anything bad about another brewery, but that specific brewery where that's part of their flavor profile, and there was already people kind of hollering at them to change that, to let them know, hey, this isn't really kosher anymore. Is that something you find more and more?
McCausland is huge. They're a big brewery. They're a regional brewery.
Okay.
And they're one of the oldest ones in the country. They're not going to and they do top cropping. Like they have open fermentation where they top crop.
Jeez.
So they have a real old school way of doing things, and there's no way they're going to introduce a new strain into their process.
Okay.
Because some beer aficionados are screaming at them, you got to use clean yeast to brew an IPA. It's just not going to happen, and I kind of respect that in a way. It's what's got them to where they are. So why would they suddenly change? They're not going to change direction like that.
No. I just forgive me. I didn't realize they were that huge. But I just meant as far as the level of knowledge increases in the beer drinker and the number of beer drinkers expand. I wonder if that's going to hurt them in the long run. because we've all been taught from an early beer drinking age that this is a bad thing, and any beer that has this flaw in it is bad. But it sounds like it's just lost in translation somewhere because in the region that they serve and the customer, that's their, like you said, their house flavor. That's what they're kind of known for.
Yeah.
But
that's it. They're not an IPA brewery. They're a brewery that has a world class oatmeal stout, world class imperial stout. They're really big on the British styles.
I love oatmeal stout, Dan. I want to tell you that again.
They're awesome at that. So that's what I mean. Like the IPA stuff is very peripheral for them. So they're not. I mean, where it would be hurt a brewery, I think, is new breweries coming online. Yeah. Because people are so and if a new brewery, and it happens, right? A new brewery comes out and says, "Oh, we got this West Coast IPA." And you're drinking kind of a malty diacetyl bomb, and then it's just like, well, dude, this is wrong on so many levels. That's going to be really hard for a new brewery to gain credibility if they're kind of making kind of fundamental mistakes in that way. I would say it would be hurtful. But for someone like McCausland, they're a juggernaut, dude. They're not gonna. They don't care what I think anyway. So that's for sure.
That's just what they are.
And as long as people like buttery Chardonnays and Harry Potter and they're Harry Potter fans, I mean, people are going to like shitty diacetyl beer.
Shitty diacetyl beer, man. Why not?
Yeah. Well, sometimes we compare. We think we're speaking for all people that drink beer. Again, 90% of the people that drink beer don't know that diacetyl is an off flavor. They may find that a very enjoyable flavor. So if there's a brewery that can exist because people like that flavor, I'm not surprised at all.
I love it on popcorn, on movie theater popcorn. It's not my beer.
Yeah. I took a 5-gallon keg of commercial beer out of my kegerator because I just couldn't handle it anymore. That just was sitting in the garage.
Getting more diacetyl in it.
Just couldn't handle it.
I popped open one of the Houblons.
Houblon?
Now.
Oh, okay.
It ran away a little bit.
The blonde ran away?
Yeah,
they usually do.
There should be one from like the spring, I think, of this year, and then one from, I believe, one of the first batches. It might have even been the same batch that you've already tried.
I meant to look for that.
The one we're pouring is the April of this year.
Okay. Yeah, I opened it up and it I wouldn't say it gushed, but it definitely foamed over a bit.
It gushed.
Oh yeah.
Which, hey, look, it's Brett. I'm not saying it as a knock.
Oh, they do that one in particular because it's got a decent dry hop and it's usually got between 3 and 4 volumes of CO2. It's pretty well carbonated.
Yeah. So
we had to release a video actually. I made a cheesy video for YouTube because on one of the not that batch but a different one we tried to go up to tried to mimic Orval, like just to see, hey, what would this beer be like at 5 volumes, just for fun.
Well, in this bottle, can it handle that pressure?
Yeah, it did.
All right.
It did.
I see.
There's no OSHA in Canada.
That's a lot of volumes, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty carbonated. So
you got it to that.
That was, but then it became a problem, right? Because people were just saying, it's gushing. And I was like, and so I made a video and I showed, listen, if you chill the beer and you open the beer at an angle and you pour into a glass, you can open a 5-volume beer without spilling a drop easily every time.
Have a glass ready. Don't open it without a glass in front of you.
That's the thing with a wild beer. Like I always have a glass right there. You never know.
Right.
And these beers have been, I don't know, how clear is it? It's probably not that clear anymore, eh?
Nope.
No, it's not super clear.
No, it's been all stirred up and stuff. I mean, it's.
Well, I shook it right beforehand, like an orange juice.
Like an amateur.
Yeah. So this is the first beer that I had from you, and it's fucking great.
It's great.
See what I mean? Like it blew me away, and it's not. It doesn't have as much Brett character as the one that I had, but it's soft and so much malt, and the yeast flavor kind of comes through, and just the Brett kind of cleans it up on the end, and it's just so well made.
Yeah,
well made.
It's got a lot of fruity characters from probably both the Brett and some of the dry hopping too.
The hops, yeah. No, it's got a decent dry hop in it for sure.
And I wish Nate was here for the Nate's in Hawaii. Nate's in Hawaii right now.
Everybody's going to Hawaii.
Everyone's in Hawaii right now.
When is it our turn?
I don't know.
October.
But
so it tastes fresh, even though I wish I did on this bottle. We didn't in either case, because it's a living beer. It's always going to taste fresh. It seems like.
But I wish Nate was here to drink this.
Too bad he's in Hawaii.
So's Nate.
Well, he's in Hawaii.
Oh. Yeah, so are you going to try the other one beside it? See if there's
did that one survive the mailing?
It did. I was hoping not to, but we don't have enough glasses in here, do we?
All right.
Here, reuse a glass.
Sounds like he wants to keep everybody.
Yeah, it sounds like he's pulling a Moscow.
Let's do it side by side. No, poker is for idiots.
All right,
here we go. Oh, see, that one's fine. Look at that.
Look at you. How'd you do that?
I don't know actually how I did that. I'm just kind of an amazing guy.
How'd you do that?
It was less, less active, I guess we could
gushy?
say. Less gushy.
Less sexy.
It seems a little darker, but maybe just because the first sample is a little bit more cloudy.
No, well, it could be oxidized a bit.
It's slightly clear.
Yeah. But that Brett is right there, in the nose, man. Oh, it's so good.
Are they cold? Like, what did you...
Yeah.
Did you,
no, they're relatively cold.
They're JP cold.
I think they're... Doc, shut up. I think they're relatively cold. I don't know what temperature.
They're about like 47 or...
I mean, they've been in my fridge. They've been in my fridge for 3 days, and then I brought it in the walk-in.
Right.
And kept it in there for a bit, and they've been sitting here for, I don't know, hour and a half.
The first ones are cold. The IPA we had, Yakima.
But in an insulated bag, so...
JP cold.
A lot of the fruit hop characters
I'm
gone
Doc
away.
off. Doc is not contributing, and he's just sleeping anyway, so...
Compared to the one from April.
Sorry, Warren, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was saying the fruity hop character that's in the one from April is a lot less in this one.
Yeah, it definitely has. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Is it more funky? Has it got more horse blanket?
Yes. A lot of straw, that kind of hay, straw, alfalfa kind of thing that you can get sometimes. I really like it.
Yeah, it's much funkier.
They're very different. So
very different, but still
good.
What
were the dates on these again? The older one was, I think they changed your date code even. 02-26-15.
02-26 what?
And that's how it's printed on American. The thing, right? It's printed on the thing. Yeah, 02-26-15.C1.
Unless
we did American dating on there.
That's why it tastes so good.
There you go. That's exactly the trick. Can't believe we did American dating. That's amazing.
No, that was on another bottle we had here. I thought that's weird.
So this is, a year, 14 months?
February.
Does it say like 001 after the 15 on it or anything like that?
It says .01. It looked like a C, but 01.
There you go. Yeah, so that's batch one. That's the original batch from February 2015. Yeah.
What did you change? Did you change anything on the recipe between these two batches?
It's pretty, like in terms of the malt bill, it hasn't changed. All we've kind of done is rotate in slightly different hops for the hopping regime, for the dry hops and stuff. But other than that, like the Brett strain, Saison strain, the malt bill, it's all the same. We're just kind of playing around with different hops because it's one thing we struggle a bit with is dry hopping Saison because all that yeast and suspension really kind of neuters a bit the dry hopping. We've like some of the first batches, actually that batch, first couple batches, we put an enormous amount of hops into dry hop, and it just wasn't coming through, and can only think that it's all that yeast that it was interacting with, because we don't have that issue, when we're using California yeast and dry hopping, those beers.
Well, when you do the dry hop the Cal beers, do you chill the fermenter or?
Yeah, we'll semi-crash.
And you do that with the Saison as well?
The Saison we have to semi-crash lower. So
you do the same, but even have to lower to get the same effect.
Yeah, we'll semi-crash the Saison yeast like pretty low, like 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. Mm-hmm. We don't want to dry hop cold We want to dry hop warm because we feel like we get, a better result. But, we want to get the yeast out too before we dry hop. So it's
so you semi-chill, drop the yeast, and then warm it back up.
Yeah, exactly. We just let it come back up to temperature with the 4 or 5 days of dry hopping.
That's the way the good breweries do it here. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I would love to be able to. I think I'd read who does it.
I know Vinny does it.
It was either Vinny, Russian River. I think he centrifuges before dry hopping. Is that right?
In the commercial brewery, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing to me. That's a dream to have a centrifuge someday, just to be able to, to get most of the yeast out of the beer before you dry hop. So you're just hops and beer.
Well, then you get so much more product.
And that's all you want.
You don't have any waste to get like amazing numbers. Because you can run all kinds of crap in that.
There's a whole benefit to efficiency and getting less waste.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just love to not be dry hopping cloudy beer.
No. Takes far, and you get a better effect, fewer hops. It's just great.
Yeah, absolutely.
When's your crowdfunding for your centrifuge, man? That's the new thing now.
Seriously, I always go over to the centrifuge table at a Quebec craft brewers conference, and I just stare at it and go, nope, not yet. Can't afford one of those.
But that is on your wish list.
Yeah, he's like, how many hectoliters a year do you do? And I tell him, and he's like, oh yeah,
sorry,
yeah, right.
It's just not worth the return on investment at your size.
What are they? They're like 250 to 500,000. They're in that range, and for a decent one, and it's just like, ouch, it's hard. That's a new brew house for us,
Yeah,
you can throw in a couple extra pounds of hops for quite a while to justify that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We're pretty good at being inefficient, so we'll stick with that for now.
There you go. I did notice on the label between the first batch was 7%. And the second batch is a little lower. It's 6.3.
That's true.
Was that on purpose?
That. Yeah. So that's right. We just felt there was you could just taste the alcohol a bit too much in those first two batches we made. The 7, there just didn't seem to be a need for it to be quite that high. So we dropped a bag or two of malts, and it ended up at 6.3. We thought for a bone dry hop Saison, we thought that might be a nicer alcohol range for it to be a bit more, sessionable.
Yeah, and not so boozy.
Yeah.
Well, I think it works.
Your beers are getting me. I'm getting raked here, man. I'm getting hammered on this show.
Well, I've been pouring bourbon into every glass that you have.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. These beers are great. I'm drinking every last drop.
I do like the difference, man. It's very clear. I'm glad you reminded me to open that second bottle. I'm not really, but I'm going to pretend.
It's hard to believe it's the same process.
It's hard to believe it's the same beer. Not the same beer, but you know what I mean. The same brand,
just
right?
give the other one some time. It'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. The difference of Brett is so amazing, man. It's such an amazing thing. I can see why there's a lot of breweries like Dan's here that just focuses on it. Because it does so much interesting stuff.
And it's the evolution, isn't it? And that's the thing. Like with a clean side beer, you bottle it, and it's a race. The race is on for the consumer to drink that as soon as possible. Unless we're talking about a big beer or a barrel aged beer or whatever, where cellaring comes into play. But for our IPA, it's a constant stress. It is just the most stressful beer to have as your flagship, because people want to drink it. And they expect every time they open that bottle for it to taste like it's coming out the bright tank. And that's our goal. But the reality is it goes through this distribution network, which is far from ideal, far from efficient at times. And the beer is dying every day it's in that bottle. So,
wow, how depressing, dude.
It is. It's really tough.
I mean, you're right, but that's depressing.
That's the way it's like being a brewer. They all have that same thing when they package alcohol.
Yeah.
It's tough, and if you don't think that way, then I kind of think you don't care enough about your IPA. Like
that's absolutely true.
But if you as soon as you start talking about Brett beers, it flips that whole model on its head.
Exactly,
and that's what it says on that label. It says
it's insurance.
Open it when you want. It's going to be interesting.
Well,
you can open it fresh. You can open it a year later, and we guarantee the beer won't be bad. There'll be something interesting to focus on.
There'll be something interesting.
It should say buy 3, have one in like right away.
Right.
One in
That's
3
it.
months. If it's getting better, wait like 8 months for the next one.
And that was my next question that I think this whole thing has been leading up to, but you pretty much already sort of answered is, how long do you wait for these beers? Do you have a recommended time that people wait for specifically your Brett beers to mature? Because I think by now you kind of have, I'm assuming you have a little bit of handle on which brand is going to mature into what flavors, and by the time you release them and the time people buy them, it's going to be, I'm assuming it's going to taste like this, and so that's okay for people to drink, or you kind of just let people do whatever they want.
Yeah, well, no, you're absolutely right. But we do the aging on our side, so that when the beer is released, we think that it's at a very interesting point. And if it says, farmhouse Soublon with Brett, there's going to be funk. So, because we could release that beer after 3 weeks in the bottle, it'll be carbonated enough, but that funk won't have developed yet. So the farmhouse Soublon, for example, we keep that from 3 to 6 months in our warehouse.
Wow.
So it's drying out and becoming more complex. Another beer, like we would never release a Brett beer sooner than 2 months, but usually it's longer, like the Sanctuaire, which is the grayscale label you have there of the church arches.
Yeah.
That we held that for over a year because and we can only think that it was because it was a pretty alcoholic environment. The Brett carbonated within let's say 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever, but it didn't do anything sufficiently different from, because we also packaged and sold that beer on the clean side. So we did a batch on the clean side in bombers, and then we did this one re-fermented with Brett in the bottle, just to kind of show, we thought it'd be fun to have the two different beers on the market. And unfortunately, the Brett side never came out with the clean side because we waited over a year before the Brett really started to express itself. It just sat in a warehouse in a corner, and we forgot about it. I stopped trying it after 3 or 4 months. I was like, oh man, I'll try this, at the end of the year. So it really does depend on the beer style and what we're hoping to get out of it. Sometimes the amount of funk never really materializes. Like we did a collaboration with Dunham Brewery here in Quebec, and we were trying to put out a sour, like a lacto quick sour wort beer, bottle conditioned with Brett, Saison, trying to get a sour and funky beer like in a really short turnaround time. It's just kind of a fun idea to see if we could do it. And the super sour beer, the Brett just never threw much funk in the bottle. So we were supposed to just kept waiting, and eventually after 3 months or 4 months in the bottle, we just released it. Was never really super happy with the degree of funkiness in that particular beer.
You think that was a lack of food source, or just that does Brett really give out like a sack might?
No, it fermented down the way we thought it would. It fermented down to 0 in the bottle, just like the farmhouse Soublon, but the only difference was the pH. So it was down around 3.2 or 3.3, somewhere around there. It was a nice, successful lacto sour wort. But the Brett just in that environment doesn't throw the same funk the way it does in a non-sour beer. So, but you're right. We hold them for different lengths of time, but absolutely minimum would be 2 months, and then anywhere upwards of a year, depending on what we're looking for.
Okay. And the last beer that we have, and I wasn't going to crack it open because we're kind of running up it, but because we still have more beer to drink from other people. But
oh my God!
I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. The Sanctuary. I opened it. I did it.
Oh boy,
I did it. I know.
What is it?
I know, right? It is an Abbey style blonde ale, right?
Yeah,
I can't read French, so I don't know.
It just says we didn't call it a triple. We just said Abbey style beer, but it was kind of based on a triple. It was fermented with primary yeast strain was an Abbey yeast strain, and then it spent 6 to 8 months in red wine barrels, and then we bottle conditioned with Brett. And that was another one where we just had to wait. That was the one we had to wait a long time for the Brett to kind of start to show itself in the bottle,
kind of do its thing.
This one's more still than the other beers. It's actually very still.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I did notice that for sure.
Oh, really?
But man, you said red wine barrels?
Well, the Abbey yeast, the esters from that yeast, and the oak vanillins are making it have a very interesting, sweet, fruity vanilla flavor.
Yeah,
that's
almost.
pretty good.
Yeah, I was like, wow, is it wort? Is it like unfermented wort, but in a good way? You know, some beers there's unfermented, and it's like, oh, that's a little weird. But some, it's like it's dry. Clearly, right? It's drier, but it's that essence of the wort, that fresh wort kind of flavor that I think is really hard to get. That's what I meant. I was like, but I think maybe it's that. I think it's the red wine barrels, the wood, the esters of the yeast are kind of making this weird, fruity, like dark, not really dry fruit, but I don't know how to describe it.
It's not flat, is it? It's not a.
I don't know if it's super flat. There are some bubbles in there, but
very few.
But yeah, not. I mean, you swirl it and there's a little.
This could be one of those that maybe had a cap failure, but the bottle didn't break.
No, it should have. That beer had pretty decent carbonation in it. Like not 4 volumes, but it definitely was in the high 2s.
No,
it was close to 3.
Yeah, so that's probably changing the perception too. But look, it's a bottled product. What are you going to do?
I wonder if the hot sauce came into collision with it in the box.
So we had this, the package broke, right? Some of the bottles broke, and so I go to FedEx to pick it up on Friday because I didn't want it to sit in the hot truck all day. I was like, I'll just run down to Pacheco, visit Pacheco again because it's Pacheco. Right. And the lady's getting it, and she goes, yeah, it had to be re-wrapped. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean, re-wrapped? Oh, repackaged. Okay, well, maybe just use repackaged next time. And then she's like ringing me up for it or whatever, and she says on the box, so 2 bottles were thrown away and a box of pasta. I'm like, what the So then, I mean, I've never met Daniel, so I have no idea. We've just been emailing. So I'm like, maybe he's just this kooky, French-Canadian guy, right? Who knows? Yeah. Whatever. Sending me the local cuisine, and it's a whole... We've been sent worse and weirder shit.
Quebec is known for its pasta.
I would have sent you poutine, man. I wouldn't have sent you pasta.
And I would have appreciated that. Maybe a donaire or two. Oh, my God. And so I'm like, what the hell's going on? And we're looking at each other, and I get home... I open the box, and the first thing I see is a beat-up package of minute rice. Huh. It's just totally beat to shit. A pot noodle, like a cup of soup, a cup of noodles, just dented all to hell. 3 small bottles of Gatorade, and a pack of Frank's Red Hot. Like fucking buffalo sauce. And so I emailed Daniel. I was like, I don't know what you did. Like, what's happening? He goes, trust me, I did not send you food items. That is super strange. So I think what happens to me, the crap like the damaged boxes just go in the same area, and then they get repackaged or whatever. And we got some college kids, end of the week, write it out until
love you, mom.
Yeah, until the grant money comes in, 3 half bottles of Gatorade, bro. That's all you're gonna get. So I would, maybe the Frank's Red Hot kind of pulled some of that carbonation out of it.
That's suspect for sure. That should be better carbonated. So let's blame it on the hot sauce.
And let's do that. I do like it though. I mean, I think we get a really good essence of what the beer is, man. But a little bit more.
Got more malt character. I like it.
Yeah, that's very good, man. I really like it.
I like it a lot.
It is pretty dry. Like that's below 1 Plato finishing gravity. So it's but with all the alcohol in there and the barrel aging, it doesn't. Yeah, it shouldn't taste thin or anything.
No, definitely no. There's a lot to chew on this too. Honestly,
a lot of body.
I kind of like it. I'm kind of glad that we've had this happen, like a lower carbonation, because you kind of get a sense for the beer without the added, acidity and liveliness of the carbonation. Like this is the beer off the tank or whatever, right?
Even a high beer to high volume, by the time you drink the last drink, it's pretty much flat. So
yeah,
we're just getting a lot of that.
I like it. I think that's it's a unique perspective to look at this beer. It's a very complex beer.
I like it.
All right, Dan. Well, I think that's it. I think we're going to let you go. We've taken up over 2 hours of your time tonight, and I really appreciate.
Sorry when you started.
I really appreciate it, man.
And it's tomorrow there, isn't it?
Is it tomorrow already?
It is in 5 minutes. Yep.
See,
5 minutes.
We'll let you go, or unless you want to, see the sun come up with the Brewing Network, which I'm sure is your dream.
Well, I think we'll have to pay you guys a visit. We've got to get down to California and come and see what's happening down there.
Yeah,
let us know.
Can we get your beers out here in California or not?
I would love that. I would love to figure out a way to do that because, everything I'm seeing in California is pretty exciting. So, I don't know. I guess it would. Yeah, I would have to find an agent or something, see if that's a possibility. But I think that'd be cool.
I mean, I think people go nuts for them down here. I really do.
Yeah, are Brett beers, are they like more mainstream? Are they selling well down there, or is it still just IPA Nation kind of?
It's always going to be IPA Nation.
It's a huge beer scene here, so even the fringes sell a lot of beer.
Yeah, the fringes are pretty well represented too. So I think these beers would do pretty well. What do you think?
On the styles that you've got here and that we've tried, there's people like standing in line to get beers from breweries. They're making beers no better than what you've got right here.
Yeah. No, I think we got to come down and see what it's like down there.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. Dan, how can we learn more about your beers?
Well, you can always follow us on Facebook. We always talk about new releases. One of the beers that smashed, we're releasing tomorrow, the Roselle, which is, again, it's Saison, but it's infused with hibiscus and, what are they called in English? They're, Jesus. Oh my God, rose hips, and then we re-fermented it on the spent cherries that were used in the farmhouse series. So we're using those cherries a second time, but obviously they're more subtle, and the star of this beer is the hibiscus. So it's kind of an interesting. That's our first time we're trying that technique using fruit in a second aging. So that's coming out tomorrow, and we've got an Instagram page which is a bit more goofy, just kind of pictures and videos from around the brewery. But the Facebook page is it's more business, all about business. Like
you gotta have that business part, man.
This is our marketing budget, right? Like an Instagram page and a Facebook page. That's all we got. And people.
It's the best kind of marketing, man.
I think so. Yeah.
Le Castor.
Nice.
Is that good?
Nice. Yeah, I should get that soundbite and put it on our website.
Yeah, please do. Right. I'm sure and make it autoplay. So when everyone goes to your website, just this some American idiot mispronouncing things.
Right on. Well, listen, thanks a lot for inviting us on, and it's just really rad to talk to you guys. Really appreciate it.
Hey, man, you've been more than generous with the beers and your time, and we really appreciate it too. And we got some swag too. We'll give some of that away on upcoming shows, and it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate it. Please let us know when you make it down here.
I will do. All the best, guys.
All right, Dan. Thanks, man.
Take care.
Bye. What a nice guy.
Yeah, really nice.
What a nice guy.
He's very forthcoming. I like
He's Canadian. That's true. What a bunch of good beers, too, man.
Oh, my God. They were all great.
Weren't they?
Yeah.
Even the flat beer, dude.
No, I'm not going to name off any local breweries where people are running down to get, bottles of their beer, but these are great.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're lucky to have them in Quebec.
Making sure Doc's awake. Okay, so now what we have is we have more beer to drink. It's the all beer show, dude. All beer all the time.
Why are we drinking so much beer the last couple of weeks?
Because we got look, I told Dan up front, I was like, okay, man, look, you sent a lot of beer, which is always awesome, but we're probably not going to have time to drink it all because Deschutes sent us some beer. We have some guys from out of town who have some beer. They're going to be coming in the next segment. They're going to have some beers, and I don't think we'll get to it all. But I sort of just kind of got sidetracked and lost control about opening all these awesome beers from Le Castor.
You kept pouring.
I kept pouring, dude. So,
when another guy produced the show, we never got to the beers because he never thought to bring them out.
Oh,
well,
so this is how it always should have been.
Thoughtful.
This is how it always should have been, guys.
Well, I'm agreeing there.
This is how it always should have been. And we have one more bottle left over, 2 more bottles, and you guys can take them if you want. I don't give a shit.
What?
Yeah. Anyway.
You can pronounce the name of the brewery. You should take them.
Le Castor. So right now we're drinking the beer. It's a brand new beer from Deschutes. It's called Armory XPA, which is an experimental pale ale. And Bev, did you give me those live reads, or was I supposed to look them up?
There was a number or something.
Got them right here. Thank you. There is a number. I got it right here. And
there's an experimental number. This sounds like a
Thank you,
Hopsteiner hop or something. What you know the
I do. I got the number right here. Okay, so this is a 5.9% ABV and 55 IBU beer, and apparently they're going to be doing it in rounds. I mean, this beer will be available year-round, but each batch will be brewed with a different experimental hop, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, it's very cool, but I think that's kind of the thing. I mean, that's what you have to do, I would imagine. You want to play with these experimental hops, throw them in on a base beer that people kind of
single
know.
malt, single hop kind of thing.
Yeah, well, so check this out.
But it's like a really, I mean, this obviously has a real malt bill.
Yeah, it has a super malt bill, right? It's got
orangey
orangey in color. Yeah.
I don't like the single malt, single hop thing.
I don't like it either.
Because the
I'm glad
malts
you
are so
said that.
stupid, boring. I can't. I gotta appreciate the hop. I gotta have it in a reasonable environment.
I agree. So check this out. This batch is hopped with Nugget, Northern Brewer, Cascade, Centennial. Just separate those for a second.
Oh, wonderful.
Classic, old school. A little bit of new school, I guess, with the Centennial, but Cascade, Nugget, Northern Brewer. I mean, can you get more classic Pacific Northwest beers, right?
Yeah. Chinook,
Get Centennial and Northern Brewer in the same beer. I'm rocking.
And you're good, right? And so the experimental hop is number 07270.
Well, how do you think they used that?
That's a great question.
I mean,
don't know.
Those other hops are so great. I mean, this beer could be like... hidden behind this.
So, so tasting it tastes very tropical, kind of orangey, like a citrusy, but like a darker citrus, which I guess orange is a dark citrus now. Let's just call that what it is. And so maybe that's it. So like this weird kind of tropical, mango-y, orange kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Get some more of that?
Yeah.
Dude, we got, here, finish that bottle.
I think Roger at Faction uses that hop. Doesn't he? 07270?
I don't know. So here's the deal. Deschutes is giving away a trip to their experimental hop farm.
Oh, great.
So I think this is their hop.
Oh, okay.
I think it's their thing.
Maybe they have their own.
Oh, so they have their own private?
I think so, but I'm not entirely sure. I should clarify. I'll clarify that.
Whatever the case is.
So if you want to win that trip, which I think we should be able to go because we're the Brewing Network, all you have to do is you grab some Armory XPA and snap a photo of you enjoying the beer and share it on Instagram or Twitter using hashtag Armory XPA, and their handle is @DeschutesBeer. And if you want more info on the beer, DeschutesBrewery.com/XPA.
I feel like that's something that we could do.
I feel like something that we could do, but I wonder if we would be invalidated because we're members of the media or something like that. But I don't know. Let's just do it anyway.
Well, each of us could do it, and we'd have 4 chances.
Doc, are you on Instagram?
I'm a person too, Warren.
I don't know.
Well,
you don't
Doc's
know if
not on Instagram. I was counting you.
No, Doc doesn't know if he's on Instagram. I just asked him. He said
my mic's not on, so what the fuck?
It's not.
It's not?
No, he turned it down.
Well, it's how can we hear you then?
I know.
Oh.
You can't. That's the thing.
No, I'm not on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Or Twitter or anything like that. You're barely on Facebook.
For sure I don't do Twitter.
For sure. That I know.
Let me turn you up a little bit.
Thanks.
For sure I'm not on Twitter. Anyway, I like this beer.
Yeah.
It has a lot of body, I think, because of the hop layering that they've done.
You think so?
Yes.
There is a lot of hops.
5.5%.
I mean, what is that?
You can't do too much. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different, and it's interesting in a day and age where most beers are going to, like you were saying, single hop, single malt. It's interesting to kind of go. I don't want to say backwards because it sounds like a bad thing, right? But to kind of go back to the classics, and I do see some breweries like we were talking to Fieldwork, I think. For the Fieldwork show, didn't they have a beer like that? Or we were talking about somebody who made a beer like that. I can't remember. But it was like that classic Pacific Northwest from like 96 malt bill, right? With some crystal malt and this kind of layering of these old school earthy hops.
Those are good flavors, and they're always never going to go away.
They're never going to go away. And it's kind of nice to see them coming back into beers, like production beers.
I don't think Deschutes really ever shied away from that. Did they? Like
no,
in
their beers
pale
evolved and more the balance.
More
well,
the East
true,
Coast English with some crystal malt and actual English
They've
yeast.
always been more that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, it's cool that they're sticking with it, and now it's coming back.
So it works well in this beer.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. And I'll be interested to see how this beer changes with the next round, like with the next experimental hop in it.
So it's going to be those same hops and then this other experiment.
That's what I wonder if they'll keep all those the same.
Well,
I think so. Stay tuned. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. Yeah. They just sent us these beers.
Right.
And go, here, you want to drink some beers? And I said, yes.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
check
they
it
should
out.
Send us the recipe. Well, whatever.
I can email them. I can ask them.
Yeah.
Because our audience, people want to know.
People, inquiring minds and all that kind of shit.
This would be a beer worth brewing at home, that's for sure. If you can get your hands on that 07270.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, man. I'm like trying to read this copy, but I'm also thinking about all the flavors.
There have been some hop distributors that have released these brand new hops just to home brewers. There was one that I don't know who did it. It was the one that Vinny brewed with. Whatever. They could maybe do that with this. It's they got limited amount.
Yeah.
They could put it in home brewers' hands and they could do experimental batches.
Yeah, and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if you guys are interested in taking a trip to, first of all, Deschutes Experimental Hop Farm.
Right.
That's got to be a wonderland of hops. I mean, Deschutes has been around for a long time. They know what's going on.
Well, at the end of the hop field tour, there's Deschutes beer.
Right.
Right. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the biggest part of the tour. I mean, a hop field. You've seen them all.
That's Armory XPA. Check it out. Pick up a 6-pack. Snap a photo, throw that thing on Twitter or Instagram, hashtag ArmoryXPA at Deschutes Beer. And who knows, dude, you could win a trip to their experimental hop farm. What goes on in experimental hop farm? I imagine
maybe they're growing sideways.
Experimenting.
Maybe they're upside down. Maybe they're they took all the topsy-turvy plants that used to be sold on QVC and now they grow them upside down for hops, right? Or I imagine you walk there
start high, finish low.
Yeah. You walk through this dark hallway that just has these spotlights on these beds of people just dissecting rhizomes and gluing weird. Okay.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it's like.
You're down into my buzz.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of The Matrix.
But you know what's not like the beginning of The Matrix? Because The Matrix, to be honest with you, was kind of a shitty movie.
Thank you for being honest.
Fuck The Matrix.
I disagree.
But what I will say is not a shitty movie. Beersmith.
That is definitely not a shitty movie.
If you guys want to start organizing your brew day, check out Beersmith. Go to beersmith.com. You get a 21-day free trial, not a 20-day free trial. 21 days to figure out how important Beersmith is to you and your brewing day. And I love it. I think it's really great. It's very easy to share your recipes, very easy to organize everything. Everything's right there. It's an easy-to-use software. It has a bunch of functions and features in it that you don't even know that you need until you actually stop writing down. Look, the print is dead, okay? Stop writing down your recipes. Get a computer. Get a smartphone. We all have a smartphone. Beersmith. Beersmith.com. Check it out. Although I probably just implied that Beersmith software works on smartphones. I can't say that for sure because I don't know if it does.
But it's the 21st century. You still should get a smartphone. Just for humanity's
Thank you.
sake.
Yeah, if you still have a rotary phone, if you have your grandma's old hand-me-down rotary phone, come on, dude. What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah. Anyway, beersmith.com. Brad's a cool dude. He's been supporting us for a long time. And seriously, it's the move you never knew that you needed to make. Beersmith.com. Okay, we're going to take a break for real this time. And then who do we have waiting in the wings taste?
FourPure.
FourPure.
Nice.
They're from?
Outside of London.
Outside of London.
They're back. We talked to them a while ago.
They run our show
we did.
long ago, yeah.
Yeah. All right, it's the session. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network. With over 20 years of experience making world-class craft beer and more than 100 gold medals in international competitions, Moylan's Brewing Company is not just a pretty face in craft beer. Just ask Brendan Moylan.
What do we got here? The beer of the hour. Moylan's, gotta love that big M. It's like a sign of awesomeness. Woo-hoo! It's got an extra kick to it. Let's pour this bad boy. Oh, easy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Moylan's. The end of the night when the kids are finally in bed, the wife's in bed, nobody's bothering your ass anymore. That's Moylan's time. Moylan's is for you. Yeah. It's to help you out. Yeah. It helps me out. What? Well, because it's freaking awesome. Northern California brewed. It's brewed with love. With love? Oh, yeah. Tremendous. And it's always best where? Moylan's. You gotta try it. On tap at Moylan's in Novato. They're friggin' awesome. Not only because I own the brewery, because I love the beer.
Cheers!
Boom.
Kilt Lifter Scotch Ale takes big beers to a whole new level with rich malt balanced perfectly with delicate hops, and now comes in 4-pack tall boy cans so you can take the party on the go. Or come to the brewery, take a tour, and try any of Moylan's fresh creations right from the source. Check them out at moylans.com.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, they're amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a Certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
BN Army, have you heard the latest at Hop Tech? Since Hop Tech has doubled in size after a huge expansion, Jade and Roberto can stock even more of the best quality homebrewing supplies and equipment. Over 60 kick-ass varieties of hops and malts, monster truckloads of quality brewer's yeast, including White Labs, Y-yeast, and multiple dry yeasts. They even have all grain systems from Grainfathers and Ruby Street Brew Systems, thanks to Jade, the brand new all-grain brewer. And don't forget about their 10% discount to all BN Army members. Jade and Roberto are waiting for you and all of your brewing questions over at hoptech.com. Hoptech, totally not sucking since 1983.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
You're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
It's the I Can't Get Away from Beer show. We got a ton of beer But first, before we get to even more beer, I want to tell you guys are in for a special treat if you're a home brewer. White Labs has been collecting yeast strains from all around the world for more than 20 years and kept them locked away until now. Through the Vault program, you have an opportunity to order new, creative, and unique strains from White Labs that have rarely, if ever, been available on a commercial scale. Check out the full lineup of strains available by visiting whitelabs.com/the Vault. And put your pre-order in today. Don't wait. Your order could push the next strain into production. Check it out. White Labs. Good people, better yeast. That's what I've always said. I don't know. Have I always said that? Have I ever said that?
Yeah, I've always heard you say that.
Just when I think of you, I think of, fuck, he won't shut up about how much better their yeast is.
Yeah, I don't want to go hang out with him because he's going to tell me about White Labs
over and over again.
Every day.
He's a piece of shit. Anyway, we have the guys from FourPure, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Did I fuck you guys up? No, I didn't. Okay. We have Tom, and Dan is playing hide and seek behind Will here. And then, what's your name, young man?
My name's Rob.
Rob, and you are Jim. All right, Jim's way in the back, so clearly no one cares about Jim. Jim doesn't get a microphone. So we had you guys on last year, I think, or something like that, right?
Yeah, I came on last year.
Okay,
just Dan and myself, and John was on the phone.
Okay, all right. Oh, perfect. Yes. Okay, it's all blur. It's all the last 11 years is a blur right now. But I think I'm gotten it. So
it was
you guys,
last year.
It doesn't matter. It all blurs together.
Still blur. All right.
Yeah, as you get older. Look, when you get older, Warren,
you get married.
You get married. Wait.
Oh, wait.
Shit.
I've been married longer than you.
Yeah. Some people are suckers.
But life's always been blurry.
Some people are
for me.
born suckers, Warren. Some people are talked into it.
Which was I?
We'll never know.
All right.
Anyway, and so you guys are just out in the States hanging out, looking at breweries and checking shit out, right? Just having fun?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've done, Tom and Dan did Firestone Walker on day one without us.
Oh, yeah, dude. Without you guys. You're not bitter, though.
We flew out the next day. They used up the air miles to get out here on day one. We came on the budget the next day.
Okay.
So
in the freight hold?
You got it.
Just about got through
that
customs.
drop out. I mean, it's pretty hefty.
Both of these two guys got second vetting in customs as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
You got the old dangerous person here, wanted in one state.
At least, yeah. An hour and a half?
Minimum.
Sat in the airport.
Yeah.
Really?
That's before the adventure even began. So these guys have done Firestone, then we all got together, did Sierra Nevada, Bear Republic, Lagunitas.
Okay.
And then we're here today. We've still got 21A and a couple of others, Fieldworks, so you got some beer on here.
Oh, yeah, man.
So, yeah, it's still I looked at the list this morning when these guys came round, and I was like, we've only done 3 breweries, so I've been here 5 days.
What do you do with the rest of your time?
I don't know.
Really?
Probably something to do with this thing in the glass.
Drinking beers.
Yeah, great time at nearly did Lagunitas. Nearly did it. Great time at Lagunitas.
Just say Heineken. It's easier. It rolls off the tongue a lot faster.
Yeah, 50-50.
Yeah.
Great time with those guys yesterday. Had a look today at their Roulette kit. So Will and Dan were doing the geeky stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's lovely kit, though. Lovely kit.
It's pretty cool, man. And you guys are going to 2&A tomorrow.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's gonna blow your balls way back. That place is fucking massive, man.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's
we're
massive.
looking forward to that. We're preparing for that.
And well, you brought us some beer.
We have.
Now, Bev put this out and put it on the counter, and it says Juice Box Citrus IPA, and I about threw up because I assumed it was going to be Cloudy IPA because juicy is like the new thing. First of all, I love the packaging. That's really cool.
Didn't you say, what the hell is that?
Well, yeah. I did, but, what are you going to do?
It's sort of,
But you poured it, and it's not cloudy. In fact, it's clear.
No, it's quite clear. It's very good.
And I really appreciate this.
And I still get the juiciness.
It is very...
Oddly enough.
Yeah, it's
doesn't
weird.
have to be cloudy, evidently.
So it doesn't even actually have juice in it. It's
fucking
juicy.
lies.
Is there a box in it?
Fruity, juicy.
What about this is true, Will? What about this is real?
The oranges.
There we go.
It's full of orange zest.
It's definitely
Orange
set up.
It's zest.
So no fruit per se, but zest.
Juicy
Set up to
flavors,
attract the young
but
kids.
using the zest.
So the flavor is first from the citrus sort of hops, I assume.
Yeah.
I will. I'm just reading your back there, and I don't want to be this guy, the stickler, but there is a misspelling on the back of your description. You spelled flavor with a U. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Pure tropical, fruity pleasure in a glass, fresh orange zest, and heaps of extremely aromatic hops. Yeah, I'll say that's dead on.
And it's a half liter, is that what this is?
Yeah.
500 mils?
Yeah.
16.9
That's a cool label, man.
Freaked the British market out with that tall boy.
Why? Cans aren't sold like this over there?
This is probably one of the first for a beer of that gravity. Yeah, and it's been popular. I'd say it's been popular.
What's at 5.9?
Yeah.
Is that unusual? This is unusual.
That's unusual in that size, yeah.
But for 3% drinkers, you can split that.
Yeah.
Great shit.
Yeah.
They don't package
good math.
ESBs or anything in this larger can?
Imperial Stout.
They've loved it. They just think that we're treating them as normal human beings now. Instead of 330s, 500s, big juicy beer, 5.9. They love it.
They love it. They can't get enough of it.
They really, honestly, cannot get enough of it.
Yeah, they're adults. I get it.
Yeah.
So this is the first beer that I would ever describe as juicy. What is juicy? Give me a juicy descriptor other than juicy. Walk me through the juiciness. Well, you're the brewer. You know what's going on. Describe. You look tired as fuck, by the way. So it's fine.
Yeah, I am a brewer.
But talk in the microphone though too.
Before Will starts,
help the guy out. Put it down in front of his face.
Before Will starts, I'm just going to give him a little header, which is the public said this about this beer, inverted commas, smashable citric beast.
Oh,
so take it from
Why
there.
isn't that a beer name?
It could be the follow-up.
There you go.
Who knows?
Do you want to put a smashable citric beast in your mouth?
Yeah, kind of do.
Well, you just have them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Will.
Sorry, Will.
Give me words other than juicy.
Any words.
Is Will the smart one? Can I just?
He's not the chatty one. I can tell you that much.
What's that?
He's not the chatty one. Not the radio one.
There's only a few people listening. Get right on that microphone so they can hear you really well.
Cheers. Chat.
Whenever you're
He's not
ready.
going to do it. Tom, help him out.
He's got a book.
I just want to know.
That's two microphones in my face now.
I just want to help. Help broaden our vocabulary a little bit. Like for us, because we don't get anything called juicy in this part. Anything that's juicy is like I said, like the cloudy New England IPAs that they keep them over there, and that's fine. They can stay over there. But for me, this is a new thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a citrus IPA, so it's got those citrus hops in it, with some orange zest in the mix as well. So it's giving you those kind of fruity notes to it.
Is it literally like recalling juice? Like the flavor of juice and the texture of juice? Is that what we mean when we say juicy IPA? Am I getting is this too much?
No, it's the oranges is the citrus, really. It's a citrus IPA.
It's just literally juice.
The juiciness is a play on that being the citrus notes that are coming out, and we're drinking it. It's easy, it's smashable, so to speak. So at 5.9, it's a summer drink. It's the summer drink of this summer.
I'm glad that you said that, because I think over here when we're saying juicy IPAs, I think it means something. I think it means like more mouthfeel and more kind of thing, but you're literally like, no, it just tastes like fucking orange juice, dude.
Yeah, it's flavour.
Yeah.
It's about flavour.
All right. Okay. I think there's a difference now, but now I understand.
Oh, good.
Now I realize why the deer in the headlights, and everyone's like, I don't understand why this fucking American doesn't understand juice. It's juice, dude.
Are you using American hops, or are these some new UK hops?
So we use some Falconer's Flight.
Okay.
Falconer's Flight, okay.
To give it a real roundedness, and the Mandarin of Bavaria.
Oh, there you go.
Nice. New school German hop.
Lots and lots of Citra on the dry hop.
Lots of Citra on the dry hop. All right. I do like that Mandarina Bavaria hop.
A
That's a tasty hop, man.
Yeah.
What else do you want to give us, the recipe for this? I'm just saying. I mean,
well, yeah, sure. I've got it all ready.
Nice.
So we talked about it being 5.9%.
Yeah.
It's around the 10 EBC. I'm not quite sure where you are on SRM on that.
That's Doc. What's your SRM calculation looking like?
It's about the same.
It's less.
Yeah.
SRM is
What's
smaller.
your EBC?
10.
So the SRM is going to be about 11, or is there something like?
Was it more?
SRM versus EBC.
Yeah.
Not a big difference.
Yeah. So SRM here is about.
It's nice and light.
Yeah, it's light.
For a nice
it's really light. It looks like about a 7 or 8 to me.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to go 9, 10. It's because it's a little bit more straw. It's not yellow.
No, it's more gold. It's golden. So
golden and orange.
And just on the edge of orange.
Yeah.
So, 7 or 8, 9.
And I think the UK drinkers would still find it a bit bitter, but it's only at 56, 55 or so.
Okay.
We're using mostly pale ale malt, but with a bit of premium caramel. Simpson's lovely premium caramel.
What's premium caramel? What is that?
It's just caramel, pale caramel from Simpson's.
Oh, no, caramel.
Yeah.
What percent of the grist is that?
It's about 3%, 3%.
All right.
And then some torrefied wheat as well. Give it a bit more body. We mash it quite high, 68.5.
Kind of build that mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a lot more sweet than a lot of the other IPAs.
Yeah, I mean, drinking it, I wouldn't think it would be an IPA because it does have that kind of that roundness, that mouthfeel, and I'm just not used to it with IPAs out here. Like you get with juice, right? I'm just not used to it out here.
What was the starting and finishing gravity? Just roughly.
We start around 16, 17.
Okay.
17
and then we
16 Play-Doh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're finishing around the 3.5 mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That gives you 5.9 alcohol.
Yep.
With a fair amount of body, which is great.
Yeah. And then the bittering's really simple. We're using Magnum. A lot of the UK brewers I don't know about over here so much. We're all using Magnum to get our bittering. And then we talked about the hops a bit before. Mandarina Bavaria, about 10 minutes, and then Faulkner's Flight and a little bit more Citra.
Okay.
And then a lot of Citra in there. Do you guys have the Braucon hop gun over here?
Which one?
So we recirc through our external vessel.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dry hopping.
Like a torpedo, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Like Sierra Nevada does? Okay. All right.
So to save having to open the tops, you keep all the aromas.
Keep it all closed system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we max that out, basically.
Okay. Pack
With our
that shit
dry
full of
hopping.
hops. Okay. All right. I got you. That sounds good. That sounds good. So it's a lot of late edition hops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Do you do any dry hopping? I would imagine you do.
Yeah, so that
Okay.
50 kilos, which is... We worked it out earlier on, trying to... My conversions to US units not brilliant.
If you want to go all
That's
European,
our problem.
let the listeners figure that shit out.
we
Don't
also
even worry
do
about it. I don't want to tax you. You're on vacation, dude. I don't
I
want
can
to
follow
tax
you pretty well. Listeners have to do their math, and they should, because we're a horrible country.
Wow.
So, no, I'm going to do it because I did the conversions. About an ounce a gallon on the hot side.
Oh, okay.
An ounce a gallon on the cold side as well.
For dry hopping?
Yeah.
Oh, so you do both on hot and cold side? No, wait. That was a stupid question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he dry hops on the hot side.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
Okay, well, that sounds cool, man.
Very nice.
How long do you dry hop it for?
As long as we can.
Okay.
But no, the method we use means that we can do it real quick. So as long as we can is 7 hours.
Oh, so when you're recirculating it, what is that?
Yeah, you're getting... So, no, we use hot pellets.
Mm-hmm.
We use T90s. And no whole T90s can go into the tank. They have to break up first. So we're getting lots of really good surface area.
Okay.
So we're getting...
So how do you break them up? Is there like a mixer in this vessel?
We're just pumping fast.
I see. That
And then
breaks them up.
And we have a sieve before it'll let anything go back into the main vessel.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, to filter everything out and help you guys out down the line.
No, it doesn't filter anything out, but it means that only the small hop particles go through.
Oh, okay.
So you're breaking up the hops rather than just sprinkling it on the top of the surface and everything sitting there.
Yeah.
Breaking it all up.
Getting
the most out of it.
And to get a more repeatable dosing.
Yeah.
So how long do you do this research?
About 7 hours.
And you found that that's better than like 5 hours or 1 hour? Or
well, we're still playing with it all the time.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it seems like at some point you might be beating the vegetative character out, and you're not. You didn't take the cream off the top. You took the garbage as well. I don't know.
We do.
I mean, I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm wondering if more is better. I mean, maybe for 24 hours to be better.
I think Doc's right. I kind of think you did.
We're a horrible country.
I think at the moment. At the moment, the longer we can do it, the better.
Trump is right. You know what? Fuck it. I've been holding back for a long time, but that wall sounds amazing.
Let's make America great again.
Let's call it Tasty's Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. I don't know. I never. Other people have been on and they talked about doing this sort of external vessel recirculating thing. And
here's my question:
and getting all the O2 out of the hops and everything.
And I think it's the same as yours.
How long do you do it?
I think it's the same as your question. What does it replace? So, like 7 hours recirc, does that equal like 7 days? It equals 5 days just sitting. Okay. Well, and was that kind of what you meant?
Well, yeah. Where I'm thinking,
right.
yeah, exactly what I meant.
All right.
And I'm thinking, like, why not just like take some samples off, like as you do it?
Yeah.
Maybe like.
I imagine that's what. I assume that's what you guys are.
So one of the things we found with this one.
Why don't you guys test the things you do? How's just?
Why are we assuming they don't?
We aren't.
Is that?
But we're fucking with Tasty pretty hard.
I've lost track here.
This is the maximum the kit can take.
Okay.
So we have to give it the longest we can.
Maximum weight of
hops. Yeah.
So
the
you
maximum dosing.
You pack the external vessel full of hops. That in order to not be wasting hops,
exactly,
you have to crank it through for the 7 hour time to get all maximum yield out of the hops that you can.
And break them all up because they run up against the screen and all that.
And then we have to stop because people have to go home at some point during the day.
Nonsense.
Wait, you guys only work 7 hours a day?
The guys have to do other stuff as well.
We'll get another dude. Get another dude to sit there and watch your whirlpool.
Is it called dosing? Oh, I'm not going to say that.
Get another dude.
Get another
dosing dude. Yeah. So the
but then also, we're dry hopping at quite a cold temperature.
Oh, really?
Around 5 degrees.
Really?
So that'll help.
Here we always dry hop warm.
We're playing with that a little bit as well.
So the two things that the homebrew radio show taught the commercial brewery are get another dude and experiment. So
pretty much
try something new.
Thank you for bringing the rest of your guys to California.
I hope you guys learned a lot. We'll send you our invoice later. I like the beer, man. It's completely different than what we're getting out here. I'll tell you that much right now. I like it.
It's juicy.
It is now. But now I kind of get it. I still think it's a little different than what we call juicy. But I think I understand what people are saying when they say juicy.
How do you know?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You don't drink the juicy stuff.
I know because number one, I don't see it, thank God. But
they're all IPAs,
and they're all cloudy as fuck. But this is not, and it's very
pulls the fuck out of
it.
it.
Right. It's very rounded. It has a lot of interesting mouthfeel to it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So you recirculate for 7 hours, and then do you just let everything that's mixed in settle in the tank, or do you filter it or centrifuge it out? Like, are the hops totally removed after 7 hours?
No, we'll push into the tank, and then we'll centrifuge as soon as it's slot free.
Oh, okay, so it could be the next day, it could be a few days.
Yeah, we'll try and keep it fairly consistent. It's normally around 3-4 days because you've got all those hops up in the beer in the tank. We want them to settle out as much as possible so we can drop some off.
Yeah, okay. And did you say 65 degrees or 6 to 5 degrees?
6 Celsius.
There were a lot of people talking then, and so that's why I wasn't sure.
5 to 6 Celsius.
Right, okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now that I'm glad because I assumed you meant 65 Fahrenheit.
Well, that's
because you did every other conversion for us.
I thought he meant 65. No. I thought I heard 65.
Well, right.
Sorry.
No,
that
was the fermentation temperatures.
What's 5 Celsius?
That's like 40.
40.
That is really cold. Wow, that's really cold.
Yeah.
Why so cold? Well,
to drop the yeast out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drops out.
We get out.
Right.
Yeah. Loads of the yeast.
You get bigger knockout then.
I fucking love these cans, dude.
Why?
They're tall boys.
I like them. I don't know. They fit nicely in my hand, and I like the artwork.
You do have like big monster hands.
I do have big monster hands.
It's that extra 0.9 ounce compared to the pint cans you can get over here.
Yeah. They look a little taller. I like them. Well, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope this was everything you ever imagined. Being more, man.
It's fun having you. I can tell you guys are glad to be here.
Cheers for having us.
So you're off to 2&A tomorrow?
Yeah, we're doing a few tomorrow. Tom, aren't we? We've got 3 lined up tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, no, 21A is Wednesday morning before we fly out.
Okay.
We're going to the tap room by the Giant Stadium tomorrow.
Okay, right.
Evening.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're hitting a few breweries in the Bay Area tomorrow as well.
Where are you going? What are you doing?
Field day.
Field work.
Field work. Okay.
Field work.
All right.
Faction.
Yeah, you got to go there.
Yeah.
Faction.
Got to go there.
Which is the other one?
Rare Barrel?
Rare Barrel.
I was going to say you
Yeah.
got to go Rare Barrel too, or that's just not your Bay Area experience hasn't been completed.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're staying in Berkeley in a dodgy motel, I think, somewhere down there. So
sounds about
look
right.
forward to
Yeah,
that.
sounds about right.
That sounds
See,
like a terrible idea.
You could have left one of these guys behind, and you would have had enough for a non-dodgy hotel. Like
yeah, that's true,
maybe a semi-seedy hotel, just even one up.
But they need the extra dude.
Yeah, we need
Get
the
an extra dude.
We need the extra dude.
We don't have time to do the thing. Get another dude. CEO promotion.
Yeah. We're going to run the advert as
That's
soon
why
as
he's
we
a
get
doctor.
home. Dude wanted.
Yeah, dude.
It's not in the UK, so they'll
Wanted
probably move it
extra
from your
dude.
country.
Yeah, and that's it. Just dude wanted.
Yeah, just dude wanted.
For more information, please
We
contact.
hope that they're from America. We don't want English dudes, because English dudes
They're
don't
not
exist.
dudes.
They're not dudes.
Well, they don't know they're dudes.
They don't know they're dudes.
Yeah. Wow, this is so. When we had English dudes in here last week,
Yes,
our friend Phil from Breakwater, he works for Barthas or
Oh, we
whatever.
know Phil.
Phil Lowry.
Yeah, Phil Lowry. We
Yeah.
know him well. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got a beard without a moustache kind of thing.
Yeah, that weird kind of homage
right,
to
we know
him. Got us a ton of beer, and then he brought his pal Chris, who's a Scot, so you can't hold that against him. And but he's brewing in Estonia at a brewery, and it's fucking rad beers, man.
Yeah.
But he brought some beers out from you guys, and English beer scene's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it. You guys are doing some
We're
good stuff.
enjoying a good time at the moment, especially in London. And further afield, to be honest, Leeds, Newcastle, they're pumping out some good breweries.
Oh, I'm glad you reminded me. Let's get real for a second. I just want to get really, super serious.
Oh, boy.
What's going on with Liverpool? Are we bringing the hardware home, or what's, are we just going to fucking tank again? What's happening? Let's be honest. Let's get real. It's
we
real
talked
talk.
about this last time, didn't we?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's kind of my
It's
thing.
probably still the same.
Yeah,
Shit.
it probably is, yeah.
They have a decent chance, but we'll probably blow it in the
There's
end.
still a guy stood at the
Got
docks
it.
waiting for Elvis records. That's still happening today, 2016. Believe me.
Someone give him a fucking iPod. All right, well, we're going to get out of here then, I think, because we've had a long show. I'm tired. I think I'm drunk, too, so Beth's probably going to give me a ride home.
Cool.
I know, right? Listen to more great radio. We have, we have Dr. Homebrew. There you go. Promote other shows. Dr. Homebrew, everybody. I have no skin in the game. Don't listen to it. I don't care. But
Does anybody listen to it?
the host is really cute.
Yeah.
So he's a good dude. And that's it, Bev. We're not doing that other thing, right?
She's shaking her head.
Sorry, I said no, but
It's like
I
she
forgot my
hasn't been doing
microphone.
radio. Fucking whatever.
Whatever.
Well, your listeners
Yeah.
are going to be at Great American Beer Festival.
Right, that's this week.
This week. Look for me. I'll be by the booth once in a while.
The cardboard cutout.
I'll be at the booth
The cardboard cutout.
the whole time.
Are you guys going to JBF
We'll
real
not
quick?
be back.
No, we're not.
okay.
We haven't got time.
No?
We need another guy.
We
For
Get another guy.
Yeah, I got to write it on it.
All right, thanks to our guest Dan from Le Castor, and thanks to the guys from FourPure for coming over and hanging out and bringing us some good beers. We'll see you guys, I don't know, later on. Don't die.
JP does great as his charity.